Yo. Specific as hell. It's funny. Last day at school. This is it. This the one. Yo, Albert, what up? Still sitting pretty in the verified section. Am I sick? No, I'm good. Breathing clean air from my Dr. Pepper. Never been one of these before. Well, welcome. Yeah, we're chilling for a little bit, but usually during the live streams we yap a lot, and I record the stories eventually. And yeah, just try to make some friends and talk about silly stuff. Mike and Ike, welcome back for 4 months. That's what's up, Joe. How many stories we got tonight? We got 3 stories totaling around a little over 8,000 words. The huge. Hi. I remember on the day I graduated high school, the weird kid asked our English teacher on a date. Hell yeah, dude. As you should. We all secretly were that weird kid, waiting for our opportunity. Sounds deeper than usual. Maybe it's just I gave it some time to refresh. I don't know. Since we didn't do the one stream, it had time to sort of grow back. She said no. Oh man, what a jerk. They hung out all that year, and she had the audacity to say no. JK. It is kind of insane though. My one friend, it was kind of crazy. Like, it was like he dated this is more recent too. He dated a high school teacher, and then like come to find out that like she had done some stupid shit with like students or whatever, like 3 like boys in high school that like he worked at, and then yeah, she's in jail now for long ass time. It's just like, what the fuck? I don't know. I don't even know how you even find yourself in a situation like that as a teacher, and just like what goes through their heads. Maybe they just think like they can get away with it or some shit. I don't know. Give Pradeep a kissy for me, please. I shall, if I see him. He was here for a bit, but I think he got annoyed with me not giving him attention once I started the stream. Do paranormal stories. Yeah. We're also going to be like, I think from now on in each paranormal stories like video, I think we're going to like try to do animation, like an animated story at the beginning. So I think that'll be pretty sick. What's up, Ophelia? How we doing? You like the Let's Not Me ones? Can't go wrong there. Yeah, let's get some likes on the stream. We gotta get back to our old days numbers. We're losing folks. Sometimes I do wish that the streams were kind of like a one-to-one replica of what's sort of expected within the realm of content. What's this song name? This is TQ1, Simple Additives. I'll link the playlist in the chat. Also, anything cool going on in the world? Any gaming news? Any interesting ideas? Another disturbing photos video. That would be good, honestly. We definitely need to do like disturbing videos. I need to like more frequently do like the disturbing videos found around the net. Freaky demon game coming out. Perfect. Any gaming news this week? ? Certainly. Sony's potential acquisition of Kadokawa. Sony is reportedly in talks to acquire Kadokawa, the parent company of Elden Ring developer From Software. This move could significantly enhance Sony's entertainment portfolio, particularly in the anime and gaming sectors. That'd be pretty huge. I wonder if that's going to make From Software games like shittier or better. Let's hope for the better, honestly, and they still give them like complete creative freedom. Microsoft's This Is an Xbox campaign. Microsoft has launched a new advertising campaign titled This Is an Xbox, promoting Xbox cloud gaming as part of Game Pass Ultimate. The campaign emphasizes the ability to stream games across various devices, aiming to expand Xbox's reach beyond traditional consoles. That would be sick, honestly. I feel like we've gotten to that point now where, I don't know, like overall internet speed has not really like jumped up that much in my mind. Maybe it has and I've been clueless to it. Oh yeah, you're right. Stalker 2 did drop today. Have you guys, anybody played it? Was it good? But yeah, you know, it's like being able to stream from like any sort of like a thumb drive at this point, I feel like should be a thing. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely would be a huge jump. I would hope though that if they did that they still charge the normal amount for games. I hope they don't like upcharge games by another $50 just to make up for shit or whatever, just because they're greedy. PlayStation Portal's upcoming cloud streaming feature. Sony's handheld console. Oh, they're doing it too. Oh, everybody's just copying each other, I guess. I guess that's what you kind of have to do. Sony's handheld console, the PlayStation Portal, is set to receive an update enabling direct cloud game streaming, eliminating the need for a PS5. This feature is currently in beta for European users and requires a PlayStation Plus. Dude, we can bring back the PlayStation Vita. Hell yeah, dude. Have you thought about posting a story on Instagram when you go live? You can delete it after the live ends. Honestly, that would be smart, to be honest with you. It actually would be pretty brill. Yeah, and then delete it after, because there are going to be people. It does suck that like YouTube just doesn't give out notifications, you know. Like if I get up to 500 people in a stream, why the fuck don't those 500 people know about the stream instantaneously, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't they, like why isn't there a separate notification system for streams that it's like different from YouTube videos? Because honestly, the way that people kind of trickle in and the views that you get feel almost like identical to like the views you would get on a YouTube video, but clearly streams are completely different. Have you played Death by Daylight? I have not, no. People tell me it's good, I just... yeah, no. Just never did. Colin Davis, welcome back for 5 months. I just signed up for the Pennsylvania State Police, so watch out. Please wish me luck. It's going to be a crazy few months. Also, how's Pradeep? He's good. He's walking in the room as we speak. He looks like he was licking his chops. Getting his goodies. But yeah, Pennsylvania State Police. Yeah, hopefully they don't ship you off to some shitty city somewhere that you gotta watch over a bunch of crackheads. Or out into the middle of nowhere where you have to watch a bunch of meth heads. It's all the same, right? Crack cocaine. Did he find that mouse? He might have. I don't know. I didn't see a dead body, but I can't imagine he would eat it. Maybe he unhinged his jaw and just absorbed it. Hootie, welcome back for 35 months, almost 3 years. Appreciate you, Hootie. Thanks for sticking with me. Very much appreciated. Yeah, the mouse is under my pillow. I was wondering why it stunk like dead body. Also, it's kind of lame too, because sometimes I feel like YouTube doesn't notify people as much if you like take a stream off. You know, do I recognize usernames? I do, honestly. I'm pretty familiar with most of the usernames that come in here. Give him the kissy. Looks like he's hanging out in the shitbox area now. It was kind of annoying. Like I got 2 shit boxes for him, right? And they both have clean litter. you know, and they're automatic ones. He kept using the one a ton, but the other he like didn't touch at all. And then like whenever the one was full and I, you know, was like, okay, he should just use the other one, he didn't, you know, go over there. So I had to like remove the tray from the one with the actual dirty litter and, you know, just move the clean one over to the area that he was familiar with. So I'm thinking like maybe, I don't know. I thought like cats liked variety, but maybe it has to be a variety that's like in different areas of the house or whatever. I usually get the notification for lives rated, but sometimes it seems it doesn't work out right. I didn't get one last time. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe I just have to... I got to enjoy the experience. David, thank you for 2. Uh-oh. Stinky. Is it really that hard to teach a cat to go outside? Well, he's not an outdoor cat. Because I'm afraid he'll go out there and get attacked by animals or get hit by a car or something. Because if a, you know, cat's been an indoor cat their whole life, you can't just, here you go. Good luck. Alex J. Welcome back for 33 months. Thank you, Alex. Outdoor cats is a bad thing, kind of. I mean, they definitely don't live as long as like indoor cats, even though I do feel bad for him that he doesn't really have like necessarily anything to do as far as like purpose. Like he doesn't get to go hunt. He doesn't get to get into like mischief or even like, you know, run for his life. Even the cat that gets hit in the road it's unfortunate, but at least they got to do that. Hey, Rick Campbell. Love your live programs. I'm hanging on as long as I can. Appreciate you, Rick. You probably got an early day tomorrow. But thank you so much for the 20. Very kind. Very, very kind. You begged me for a Thanksgiving story. I am going to try to compile enough Thanksgiving stories for... What day is today? Yeah, so Monday's video. I know an outdoor cat who told me he's 80 years old. 80 years old. I believe it. Started walking Doofster because I don't want him indoors forever. Oh yeah, I guess I could take Pradeep on some walks. Just to see what he does. I don't know. Be like semi-afraid that he'll like get a tick on him or some stupid shit. Petition to bring dabbing back. Dabbing as in like smoking or like dabbing people up? Like what's good? Slime. The wilderness stories and holidays are nice too. Like Thanksgiving or Christmas night ones in the middle of nowhere. Those are good. Especially during a holiday if you're just chilling. I feel like, I don't know, if you ever go visit family and you don't really have much to do, it's nice to like find solace in a nice little YouTube video. It is kind of crazy from like the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. My fucking phone is just YouTube. I got that YouTube. It's just endless YouTube. Just like whatever, just put whatever the fuck on. Somebody talking, somebody saying some shit, somebody just to make me feel like I'm not dying slowly. Have you seen the movie Swordfish movie when Stanley tries to hack while getting a BJ? Awesome, just rewatched the movie. It's been a while. I remember Swordfish being some sort of big deal because Halle Berry had her boobies out. Pretty freaking sweet. Oscar award-winning tits. What's up, Katie? Any of y'all getting snow tonight or tomorrow? It was honestly raining around here. It's kind of funny. I have a premium for my background sound. Being a stay-at-home mom gets crazy quiet. Yeah. You gotta listen to something other than your endless running thoughts. But, you know, once in a while, your own personal thoughts can, you know, sometimes lead you to do, I don't know, something different. Hopefully nothing bad. Do I have a theremin? No. What YouTubers do I recommend? Dude, I don't even know, bro. Oh, they all suck. They're all bad. Don't listen to them. Don't even listen to me. I'm bad too. The only YouTube stuff that I have come up all the time is just like that endless like culture war grifting stuff, which like I'll listen to it, but like at the same time I'm like, this is so stupid. Why do I even care? Do I still lift? I do, yep. Getting stronger every day, baby. You really want to play the theremin? All it takes is one step. Step one. Start. What's up, Noid? But yeah, we got 3 stories tonight. Guys, thanks for being here. Click like, click share. I should probably not drink soda. Back to school? Question mark? Wait, did I name it back to school? No, last day of school. Does it say last day of school or back to school? Do I like kombucha? I do, yeah. Kombucha's really good. I probably should drink that more. Okay, last day of school. Sweet. Okay. Probably shouldn't have filled my nose with snot. What the fuck? Oh, I'm dumb. I was like, why is... I was like worried. Because, you know, I remember my last microphone just kind of shit out on me, so I was worried this one was doing it too. I went to high school with a boy named Ashley. Ash had blonde, curly hair, a little bit of an overbite, and was ever so slightly overweight. He could look quite gormless sometimes. Gormless? Holy shit. What even is that word? We're using a different word. Nobody says gormless. He could look like a homunculus from time to time. He could look quite slow sometimes, staring glassy-eyed and slack-jawed at the blackboard each morning during reception period, but in reality, Ash was pretty sharp. His grades were good, he went to chess club in years 7 and 8, and then he was actually on the debate team for a while before things went pear-shaped for him at school. Because unfortunately, as well as being one of the cleverest lads in our year one, in our year group. Okay. Where's his glorm? He looked a bit of a glorm. It's nice to know that it's so funny, like sometimes I'll feel something moving near my leg and I'll look down and Pradeep is like deep in a trance, having sex with his like blanket. You know when cats are like making biscuits and stuff, but it just seems like they're in like a very, very deep trance somewhere else. Like they're wearing fucking VR glasses and just cannot be reached. Becoming pear-shaped. Why do they do that? Like, why do cats sit there and kind of go into like a trance as they massage this furry blanket, sin biscuits. It seems like it was what he's making. Having a cat sounds rad. It's honestly pretty easy, you know. You get like one of them, get them a litter box and clean it or whatever. You can get one of the automatic ones, and then just give them wet food and like a little water fountain, and then dry food to graze on. And then they pretty much just chill with you wherever you go. Because unfortunately, as well as being one of the cleverest lads in our year group, Ash was also a complete weirdo. To give you an idea of just how weird Ash was, I was once told that he had a deathly phobia of vinegar. 3 lads in my year group told me in the dinner hall at lunchtime one... Dinner hall? Diner hall? I don't know. 3 lads in my year group told me in the dinner hall at lunchtime one day. But since they were laughing when they told me, I didn't believe them and very foolishly decided to test out their claim. A few minutes later, Ash walked over with his dinner tray and then sat a few chairs down from me. Then, after getting his attention, I flicked a bottle of vinegar in his direction, causing a few drops of it to land on the jacket of his school uniform. At first, he seemed just a bit confused and looked at me like, "Have you gone mental?" And I was half expecting to see the lads that had told me that he was scared of vinegar to be pissing themselves laughing like, "You gullible twat." But when I looked over, they were horrified. Not a split second later, the whole dining room hears this ear-splitting screech. Ash jumps up so hard his chair falls over, and then he goes running out the dining hall with literal tears in his eyes. He'd realized it was vinegar that I'd flicked on him, and his reaction was to completely freak out. Ash was a bit weird, but also a bit of a prankster. And so when he jumped up and ran out screaming like he did, most kids assumed that it was just some kind of joke. However, when we later found out his reaction was genuine, Ash solidified his reputation as being, to put it nicely, an absolute Fruit Loop. I actually got into a bit of trouble over the A gormless Fruit Loop. My body started to eat away at my muscle, so I'm working on regaining it. Yeah, just gotta... Once you build it back up, I think one of the best ways to maintain it while losing fat is just strength training. Because at least with that, it will send the signals to like hold on to the muscle and just make sure you get enough protein. Doesn't vinegar have acid in it? I think it is like a corrosive material, but I don't think it's enough to like hurt anybody. Because obviously we consume it. I actually got into a bit of trouble over the vinegar. Man. Okay, I really should not have fucking... It's weird sometimes you drink soda and you just like don't realize how much like snot it like makes and how important that is for reading. Like if you guys ever do narration crap, it's like really important to have like clear sinuses, otherwise you just... It just gets in the way. It's fucking annoying. I actually got into a bit of trouble over the vinegar flicking incident, but nothing too serious, and Ash accepted my apology, and so no hard feelings. Yeah, dairy's bad too, for sure. I actually got into a bit of trouble over the Dude, why is it hard to say? The vinegar flicking... I don't know why. Sometimes I try to blend words together, and it just doesn't work. One thing that kind of helps sometimes, you can get like apple cider vinegar and like water. And that sort of helps like dry things out a bit. I actually got into a bit of trouble over the vinegar flicking incident, but nothing too serious, and Ash accepted my apology, so there were no hard feelings. He continued to put in a good performance at school, and he got to be quite outgoing for a while, and would sometimes come and play football with us on the school's AstroTurf. But then, the school held a business studies fair, and although that might sound like the most innocuous thing imaginable, it put us all on the road to disaster. So right as we were about to pick our exam subjects, our school started teaching business studies as a GCSE. They tried it one year, but hardly anyone signed up, so the next year they put on a little fair in an attempt to drum up interest. Now, I won't bore you with all the little details, but the main event was a talk from some prominent local businessman, and he spoke at length about the need for free thinking and innovation, as well as the raw desire to go out and make our fortune in the world. I think it just went out one ear and went in one ear and out the other for a lot of us. But in Ashley's case, he took it to heart. He started buying blank CDs, burning people's album requests onto it, and then reselling them for like £1 profit per unit. It started with just a few, enough to buy himself some sweets from the school tuck shop, but then after a while, even some of the teachers were buying bootleg CDs from him, and he'd sell maybe 10 to 15 a day. Well, as some of you are probably screaming at the screen right now, this was extremely illegal, and it wasn't long before Ash was called into the head teacher's office for a bollocking. A bollocking. You want to buy my voice? Who knows? You probably can in AI form at some point. YouTube will have some weird thing in like, what's it called? The terms of services that will say like, any content creator that exists on YouTube at all that's part of the creator program gives them explicit permission to create AI crap with their likeness. We're getting there. What's up, Lauren? Did I see any of the videos? What videos? Like AI videos lately? They are getting kind of crazy. I saw one with like the Trump and RFK on that plane, and they were eating McDonald's or whatever, but then all of a sudden, like, all of them stood up and started shooting guns and doing other crazy stuff, and I'm just like, holy crap, dude. AI is freaking nuts. The meltdowns? Meltdowns of what? Fukushima? Well, as some of you are probably screaming at the screen right now, this was extremely illegal, and it wasn't long before Ash was called into the head teacher's office for a bollocking. What he was doing was obviously wrong, but from what I heard, the way the school handled it was ridiculously harsh. I think the school feared some kind of lawsuit and wanted to make an extreme example of Ash to stop other kids from starting up illegal side businesses. Because when it came to his punishment, it seemed way out of proportion. Instead of giving him a slap on the wrist and telling him not to do it again, Ash was suspended for 2 weeks, given 4 Saturday detentions in a row, and had to write a 1,000-word essay on why what he was doing was wrong. This was an insanely harsh punishment as it stood, but what totally wrecked Ash's head was the fact that less than a week before, he'd been encouraged to be innovative, free-thinking, and entrepreneurial. Granted, the guest speaker at the business studies fair didn't mean start pirating music and selling bootleg CDs to everyone, but Ash was almost 15, and everyone does daft, harmless things at that age, really. And he should have gotten a slip. My meltdowns. You guys recording meltdowns? Love hearing the rough draft read and miss the past few. No worries, Lauren. Good to see you. Oh, the election meltdowns. I don't know, dude. I've arrived at this position where I think I've ascended. I think I've ascended past the left-right paradigm, and I don't care anymore. I don't care if someone tries to make you feel guilty for not whatever. I realize at the end of the day, the only thing that matters in many, many fashions is like your financial freedom. And a lot of what ends up happening within that sort of left versus right paradigm tends to be the same outcome no matter who is there, as far as like slowly weakening that financial freedom through like inflation. You know, obviously during COVID it was like mass inflation where they just like were transferring all of the middle class wealth over to people in positions of financial power. And I just, I think it's all just it's got to be a show. I mean, it's a reality guy is the president. And even if someone were to like them or dislike them or whatever it might be, I oftentimes find that the sort of pendulum swing back and forth that we really have going pretty heavily now with the left versus right thing is honestly more dangerous for us at the lower end, right? Because if you really want to make changes in your world, you're going to have to realize that most of it starts with you individually and expands out to your local communities, and that's where it all kind of begins. Sitting there and kind of like watching some show and getting angry about it, or getting even more ridiculously getting angry when someone doesn't agree with you, or like feeling like you can't trust them. It's so abstract and strange, yet it's so psychologically effective, you know what I mean, on all of us. And I realize that the only way that things are truly going to change is if you can somehow like have an ego death to whatever that is, or whatever sense of identity you used to feel pertaining to left versus right, and some weird sense of like state worship that a lot of us tend to have with these like cult of personalities and politicians. Just recognize that pattern. Start to see patterns in your day-to-day life, things that actually do bring you joy, things that actually do make change, and recognize the things that bring negativity and just avoid those, But yeah, I don't know. Just get your bag up, You hear that all the time, but just literally get your bag up as high as you can, diversify it, whatever it is you need to do. Just focus on yourself to make yourself as fucking financially independent from whatever system exists, and make your life for you and those you love around you better. That's really all you can do. Because sitting there and I understand the temptation to sit there and like watch someone with like blue hair scream about something that seems so outrageous. It can be quite entertaining for sure, but then eventually you come out of your stupor of just like, what the fuck am I doing? Why do I even give a shit about this person or how they feel? Who cares? I got money to make. I got a life to live, I got people around me that, I don't know. Fuck them. Fuck all that shit. Wart. That's what I got to say about that. He should have gotten a slap on the wrist, maybe one round of regular detention at best, but for some reason, they came down on him like a ton of bricks. The whole experience must have had a profound effect on him, because after that, he was never the same. His grades dropped dramatically, and he became increasingly antisocial, and he became the focal point of a number of minor scandals. He got caught smoking behind the school gym one lunchtime, and then another time, teachers found a can of lager in his bag, and he'd also loudly argue with teachers pretty regularly until I think even his parents got involved and began imposing punishments at home. And during his last year of secondary school, which is 10th grade in the United States, Ash's behavior started to level off. His exams were coming up, so I think that's what had him knuckling down a bit in terms of his academic performance. But at the same time, he was still this seething ball of resentment who despised almost everyone and everything. Cut to early April, about 6 weeks before exams, and we got a special announcement in assembly come Monday morning. Someone had been stealing crates from the school dinner. I keep saying diner, but I guess it probably is dinner hall in the UK. I should give TED Talks. I mean, there's nothing really profound about what I'm saying. It's just that, like, I think what we're witnessing right now is what do they call? Are you guys familiar with like manufactured consent? So it's like it's part of like the whole like problem solution or problem reaction solution sort of psychological manipulation of the masses, where you tend to present people with certain problems. You already sort of anticipate their reaction to it, and then you as the state entity provide them with the solution, right? And that whole time you think that you're part of something. You think your opinions, your perception towards it, your fear or apprehension or whatever is like part of some grandiose normal reaction. But really what's occurring is like it's all been taken into consideration prior. And then the solution that you're given is something that you're just is part of the manufactured consent, where you just kind of go along with the process. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I guess I don't know exactly the definition of the Hegelian dialectic. You know, let's look it up. Let's make ourselves smarter on the stream here, huh? Hegelian dialectic. Okay, this is from AI. It is a philosophical framework developed by George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Thesis, an initial idea, condition, or proposition, antithesis, a reaction or contradiction to the thesis, presenting an opposing force idea. Synthesis, a resolution that reconciles the conflict between thesis and antithesis, leading to a new and more advanced level of understanding of reality. Maybe, I'm not really sure. But key features, the dialectic emphasizes progress and change as the synthesis itself becomes a new thesis, sparking few further antitheses and syntheses in an ongoing cycle. Yeah. Problem, action, solution. Yeah, so it's like, I think when I look back on like, when you really look at the energy of the existence of a character like Trump, right? Trump exists. There is essentially our perception of what that character is. It then brings in a new zeitgeist via the media, right? And how they sort of present that character. And then there's a division on those who perceive and believe the media versus those who perceive and believe some sort of antithesis to said media or state-ran perception. But in reality, the individuals that believe that they are external from the influences of the media are actually playing part into that divisionary perspective by playing into the division, right? So your reaction in being, I guess, antithetical or anti that establishment perspective or quote-unquote establishment, you in yourself are actually just as part of that anticipated narrative as one would expect. So then you introduce another stimuli into the population's zeitgeist, or in this case the world's zeitgeist, via COVID, and then you already have like a very strong cultural left versus right paradigm, where some people are kind of religiously and participating in a left paradigm while others are religiously participating in an opposing paradigm, sometimes right, and you end up being able to essentially manufacture consent for larger chaotic events because people are so divided in the way that they perceive reality and the way that they perceive themselves and their community. So in the more that they don't trust each other and the more that they think that there's someone from the top down going to fix things, the easier it is for you to manufacture whatever chaotic event you want to occur so that you can do things like transfer wealth, change laws, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? So I think as long as we continue to abide by those perspectives, I worry that if there's still, like, as we go into these next 4 years, if we still have, and I don't know if that spell is as strong as it used to be, that this left versus right divide is going to be, basically precipitating the next thing, the net, whatever it might be. And that if we're all divided in the way that we approach that, and the way that we like logically interact with each other to overcome a, variable, a stimulus, a chaotic thing, then essentially we're just going to get led along to that new perspective that's not even going to benefit us in whatever degree, whether that's some sort of war, whether that's shutting down or changing up the financial systems, or the loss of power. You know what I mean? I'm just thinking hypothetically, but I'm just saying, like, the more that we give in to that divide, the easier it is for people in actual positions of power within that hierarchy to control you. So I'm just saying, in the future, we said before, just keep that level head, be on your toes, understand that there's not a single entity at the top that's ever going to make your life better, because all of them are just like these abstract parasites that feed you the same bullshit every fucking 4 years. And so it's like, you have to recognize eventually that we either have no pattern recognition skills, or it's just all baloney bajoni. And yeah, hopefully video games get better. I don't know. Man. Sorry. That's my soapbox for the day. He will not divide us. Yeah, Shia. Well, it's not just he, though, that wants to divide us. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just kind of choose one entity. It's it's the system that you exist, because the Shia LaBeouf perspective is that it all falls on the orange man. But you have to understand is that Shia LaBeouf still wants you to exist within the paradigm of the left-right divide, and doesn't want you to sort of like, so he still wants you to demonize somebody, right? He still wants you to hate some degree of your neighbor, but not all of them, So I'm saying, don't hate any of your neighbors. Just be very discerning when it comes to positions of power telling you the next step, the next reality shift. Someone had been stealing crates from the school dinner hall, and it was costing the school money, because the catering companies expected the crates back, and the company was charging the school a premium for each one that was missing. The head teacher announced that although they didn't yet know who was doing it, they'd inevitably find the culprit and they'd be severely punished. But I remember everyone being incredibly confused. Of all the things to steal, why steal wooden fruit and vegetable crates? And in any case, who was the crate thief? And this went on for weeks, and there wasn't much the school could do about it. They bought a special wheelie bin to put all the... Wheelie bin? I don't know why wheelie bin is such a funny thing. You got no hope left. Well, that's the thing. As soon as you feel like, if you've ever been hit with like the black pill, have you guys, I'm sure you've heard the term black pill, where it's like you take a pill, kind of like the Matrix, and instead, like in the Matrix, it was like, take the red pill to like be brought out of the Matrix, take the blue pill to go back into like just being kind of blind to things. But like in the sort of progression of that meme, it's like the black pill is like, essentially you have no hope for anything. But I would say, take a white pill, and the white pill should be a sense of self-reliance, a sense of like self-betterment that begins within the individual, to like have faith in yourself and those around you to lift you up and lift others up. You know what I mean? Don't place that hope into something. And the reason I think a lot of people get black pilled a lot of times is because they don't feel like they have control. But I'm saying, take control of your life, do little steps at first, but keep building up and finding new ways. Yeah, take the suppository, take the brown pill up your ass, and that's where it all becomes clear, honestly. You're like, wow, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, just boof reality all the time. Alright, anyways, I need to shut up. They bought a special wheelie bin to put all the empty crates in, but whoever was stealing them started coming to school with an Allen key where they just unlock the wheelie bin and steal more crates. Everyone knew it was happening, but it was probably the most boring mystery in the history of time, so nobody really gave a toss apart from the school. But then one morning, I solved at least half of the missing crate mystery all on my own. Our school had a... shit. Sorry. What the hell was that? This is a suppository coming back up. Yeah, the black pill is actually just a narcotic. What the fuck? Take the fentanyl pill, and things will become real clear. You will find. Opinions on caffeine. I like caffeine, especially before working out. Some people who are caffeine aficionados, I think a lot of them kind of prefer just to stick with coffee. I personally don't, but I probably should just go to coffee mix bullshit, you know what I mean? But it does help with muscle contraction and just your general ability to push through things. Energy drink caffeine and coffee caffeine are totally different. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that? What do you think is different? Because wouldn't the caffeine that's just in an energy drink just be the concentrated white powder caffeine that they make or whatever? I don't know if it's synthesized or if they just take it from leftover batches. Oh yeah, it's true. Coffee has more antioxidants. Our school had a breakfast club, and in the run-up to the exams, I decided that I'd start going to get some extra... Our school had a breakfast club, and in the run-up to the exams, I decided that I'd start going to get some extra revision in with a bacon buddy and a cup of tea. And Ash was almost always there first. In fact, the one time I arrived bang on 7 o'clock, he was sitting on one of the benches outside the dining hall. I thought it was a dinner hall. Now it's a dining hall? Your school had a breakfast. I remember ours never provided that. I think if people wanted to eat breakfast at the school, maybe they did, but I vaguely recall so many school lunches just being gross. I know there was side things that you could buy. I used to be jealous of the kids who would just buy a bunch of fruit snacks and muffins and chocolate milk because their parents cared about them. Just kidding. In fact, the one time I arrived bang on 7 o'clock, he was sitting on one of the benches outside the dining hall, looking like he'd beaten me to it by at least 5 to 10 minutes. Because no one really gave a toss about the crates going missing, I didn't devote too much thought to it either. But later that morning, when Ash reached into his blazer pocket to fish for change, I saw what looked an awful lot like an Allen key in his fist before he quickly dropped it back into the pocket. On the way out of breakfast club, I caught up with Ash and quietly asked him why he had an Allen key in his pocket. He tried to deny it at first, but when I asked if it was him stealing all the crates from the school bins, his smile told me all I needed to know. I swore I wouldn't tell anyone it was him, but then I had to ask, why steal crates meant for the dinner hall's catering company, and why steal so many that it required a special mention during that weekly assembly? Ash just gave me a sly wink and told me, "You'll see," and then walked away. I remember telling only one of my mates about it, only after swearing him to secrecy on his mom's life. And then when I told him Ash was stealing the crates, he says, "Is that it? I thought you were about to tell me something like life or death." He was perplexed as to why the whole thing even interested me in the first place, but when I explained how Ash wasn't just stealing crates, he was planning to do something with them, my friend started to understand my fascination. We thought that there was a good chance it was some kind of money-making scheme, but then having him say, "You'll see," didn't make much sense if that was the case. If he was just selling the crates, what was there to see? We didn't find out what he meant until the last day of school, but if I'd even gotten so much of an inkling as to what he was planning, I'd have gone to every length to stop it. So the last day of school was Friday, the 25th of May, and as you can imagine, we expected a great deal of hijinks. There'd be pranks, water balloons, everyone would be signing each other's shirts and whatnot. But what we didn't expect was to turn up to school and see a huge wooden behemoth standing proudly on the sports field. The sports field was way out behind the back of the school, whereas the dinner hall was near the front, and so when I arrived at school, I didn't see what many others did that morning until much later in the day. The first thing I personally noticed was that Ash wasn't at the breakfast club, but that didn't mean anything to me at the time. It was only later on that I heard rumors of a big pile of wooden planks on the sports field, but it wasn't until lunchtime that me and my mates were able to walk down to the field to see what was going on. It wasn't just a big pile of wood. It was a big pile of wooden crates. And when I say big, I mean really big. It was at least 2 or 3 times as tall as me, maybe 13 to 14 feet high, and it was even wider at the base. It looked like a giant rough pyramid, then as people got closer, they started to smell the fumes. It was a bonfire. A massive bonfire made entirely of wooden fruit and veg crates, and fruit and veg, I probably should say that faster. People will think it's wooden fruit. Whisper, 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 whisper. Where do you think you're going? You think you can just leave me? I will find you. And when I do, I'm gonna write you up to your manager. And then when that happens, he's gonna give you a good bollocking. And when you get bollocked, you're not gonna feel good about yourself. You're not gonna feel like a good little fucking stupid little thing. You're gonna feel pretty disappointed, I guess. But most of that's gonna be primarily based on whether or not you associate your identity with being good, which probably originated from your upbringing and your parents' interactions and relationships with you. So hopefully that's works out good so that I can make you feel maximum bad about whatever I want. And in that situation, I will be in control. How do you get your cat to like you? Oh wait, how old is it? Because that's what I thought about Pradeep whenever I first that's what I thought about Pradeep when I first got him, was that he didn't like me. But then it eventually became that he did. You just gotta give him time, and sometimes you kind of have to force your love upon them. You almost have to grab them and make them sit on your chest and just chill there and pet them until they're like, all right, whatever. Hey Jade, what's up, dude? How we doing? Struggle snuggle, yeah. The snuggle sesh. Why did I change the thumbnail in the new video? I like the new one but love the old one. There's an option on YouTube videos where you can put 2. So it'll show some people that one, and it'll show other people another one, and then depending on the watch time that you get based on those ones from that audience, it will decide which one gets to be the primary thumbnail from there. Jensen, cock and ball leak of 2022. We all remember that. there was no cock and ball left to be had. Jensen did a really good thing for me recently. He reminded me how much I hated Overwatch. So thank you, Jensen. That was like probably the kindest thing anyone could do from my heart. Do people change thumbnails for views and preferences for stats? Sometimes like a video will get to a point where you can see that it has no like more upward trajectory. And I've heard some people say that you can change your thumbnail and it will like reactivate like being put into the algorithmic system, so it starts to get pushed out again to people. And if it's like a new better thumbnail, maybe with a different title, it might actually pick up some speed. Add more red circles. Yeah, it usually helps. Hey Vince, what's up, dude? Do people spell words wrong to get spelling nerds to comment in the comment section? I never heard of that before, but that's a good idea. I'll have to spell scary, like skloggy. 10 true skloggy stories. You heard the algorithm favors videos made on iPhones. I guess I could never really do that since mine's... it'd be weird because that would mean, I guess recorded maybe, and there's some degree of metadata within that recording that says iPhone, but I never heard of that. I just kind of noticed that recently with new videos. Yeah, I feel like medium-sized YouTubers they get, myself included, we get kind of obsessed with like trying to change things to find like positive growth. Because I'll be honest with you, I've been stuck at like a certain amount of views for like a while, and I really don't necessarily know how to like see positive growth beyond that, you know what I mean? And it just seems, I don't know, maybe it's sort of like maybe I'm just a rat in like a game where they're like, we're gonna give this rat 5 million little nuggets of views, and then this rat over here, Mr. Beast, gets 2 trillion. No, I don't know. I'm just pretty much every time I upload a video, it's like I don't know. I just have schizophrenic thoughts about what would make things better. What kind of mic do I use? What you're hearing me right now is on a Neumann TLM 103, but what you hear during the videos is an H4n Pro. I got them stacked on top of each other like an ice cream sandwich. Mr. Beast is meh. Yeah, I'm not like, honestly, I never really watched his videos. Only time I ever watched them was when I would go to a friend's house and he would put it on for his kids or whatever. And honestly, I would just sit there and kind of like joke about it the whole time. But at the same time, I was always kind of jealous of him in the sense that he was always doing something cool. You know what I mean? Like, even though it does, in a weird way, it seems like he just doesn't even care, you know? I'm driving the world's biggest Matchbox car in a big loop and hitting a fucking jump, and then I'm going caving to the center of the earth. And while you're here, be sure to buy my little Smash Monsters, or what you ever see his like toys that he has. And also, I feel like, I don't know, I've asked before, but is the chocolate any good? I've literally not tried it. Doubt you remember my last random comment live about being stuck in a hospital listening to your videos constantly, but I'm still freaking stuck in a hospital, bro. Still giving you insane watch time. I'm really sorry to hear that. Yeah, did you say what it was? Was it like a infection or something like that? There's definitely brain rot content in the Sensi Farms views, but I wish I could help people like he does. But who knows if he actually does, you know? Yeah, I mean, I think I saw more recently that there was some controversies pertaining to Mr. Beast related to whether or not his philanthropy was legit, which obviously I didn't watch enough like of the drama videos or whatever to kind of get the full deets, but it did seem like there, like especially the one where he was like helping people with like eye surgery. It was like the company that did the eye surgeries did that, but then he never like fully compensated them. and just like paid, and the company, I think he paid a company to then compensate them, but then that company only paid out for like supplies and stuff, which kind of sucks, because then that brings into question the ethical nature of that company, whether they were screwing over Mr. Beast on behalf of that. I don't know. It just seems like a fucking mess that I don't think Jimmy having like his mom running managing the company in the background is probably the best idea anymore. Josh to Ozzy, thank you for the 3. He says, I got my YouTube summary and I have 200 plus hours this year. Oh, YouTube is doing like a year recap thing? That's sick. That's actually amazing. I'm excited to hear what that says. Everything on YouTube is just fake entertainment. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, it's all just whatever. Elon Musk does have a six-pack, that's true. He's not a big glorm. Did I read The Showers creepypasta? No, I don't think. I haven't read a creepypasta in a while. Jimmy gets a horrible gambling addiction but will never be broke. I mean, who knows, maybe. That's gotta be a weird feeling to just like have that much money. Should you delete X? Yeah, dude, I deleted X. It's nice, you know, like I don't have to. It's already annoying enough to like see a bunch of just like drama shit in your like YouTube feed, and then to go on to like X, there's just like no value there. The memes are shit. The format is shit. You can't even have like good discussions with anybody about anything without like you pretty much get the tweet that somebody tweeted, and then you'll click the replies and there will be like one reply, you know, and that's also as equally hyperbolic. And then you might get like, you know, the community note now, they have that like below it, which is useful because it adds more to the conversation. But I would say overall, like most people's general discourse on X, just about anything ever, is just like so emotional. You know, there's never like an earnest conversation to be had on there. And I also find it really cringe when you go to like just the idea that like entertainers, you know, you go look at like voice actors and they're all just like these like weird amateur activists or whatever, but they're not doing anything. They're just like spouting out psychobabble and shit on their fucking Twitter, instead of just like entertaining you like they should be, I feel like. And yeah, there's lots and lots of bots. It's fucking, I don't know. And yeah, it's like, you know, there's, I don't know, like if you go on TikTok, I don't use TikTok, but if you go on there, at least you can eventually like form your algorithm to not have any like political content. You can just watch silly memes of the Kool-Aid Man or something. I don't know. The chill bro, the chillest bro, stuff like that. You can turn your shit into what you want it. But like on Twitter, it's just like what's fun? Like what is even fun? Like reading people's like texts, like little stupid pointless ideas in their head, diaries, you know. There's just nothing good going to come from it because nobody ever has any like actual good or useful information from their brain usually. The Taliban's on Twitter. Yeah, see, they're the only good ones to follow. They're like the only level-headed folks around, it seems like. JK. YouTube keeps trying to shove political content down your throat. A big one is the Ramsey Show lately for shorts. I never heard of the Ramsey Show, but yeah, I mean, just all of those contents in general, the divisive nature of it tends to generate all of those views because they've come to find that people are much more entertained by being angry than they are, I don't know, content or whatever. Like you're more likely to click. I mean, I would never know what the fuck The View is. Like I would never in my life ever watch a show, or I never did watch the show The View. But as soon as it became like this sort of contentious, like somewhat political like talk show thing that is also plays into that left-right divide. Suddenly then you see that everywhere, and it's like, I don't know, I think everyone is just realizing that whether or not you have inflammatory opinions about something or not, you can make way more money by being that thing who just like walking, talking clickbait, you know. Brooklyn, thank you for the 42 months. Hello, hello. Thank you. It was a bonfire, a massive bonfire made entirely of wooden... And Peter, welcome back for 9 months of buttery goodness. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you. It was a bonfire, a massive bonfire made entirely of wooden fruit and veg crates, and by the smell, someone had poured a lot of petrol all over it, or at least some kind of flammable liquid to aid in its ignition. There was just a handful of curious kids standing around by the time we got there, but in the minutes that followed, the situation escalated dramatically. Within just 10 to 15 minutes, the crowd surrounding the bonfire swelled from about a dozen to between 200 and 250 kids. News of the bonfire had spread like wildfire, excuse the pun, and I think our school's teachers were too busy trying to put out other... God damn it. News of the bonfire had spread like wildfire, excuse the pun, and I think our school's teachers were too busy trying to put out other, more metaphorical fires because, as I said earlier, prank season was in full effect. Everyone was so excited for some riotous act of rebellion on the last day of school, and when Ash delivered, they flocked to the sports field at the first available opportunity. By about 12:40, half the school had encircled the bonfire in the expectation that someone was going to light it. And before long, someone did. I don't know who had the lighter on them, but someone did. And then seconds later, a kid in year 10 was approaching the bonfire with it, along with a rolled-up bit of paper to act as kindling. He approached the pile of acrid-smelling crates to the cries of, "Do it! Set it on fire!" And then after a bit of theatrical nervousness, the kid lit the paper, leaned down, and then started trying to set the pile ablaze. There were a few moments of doubt, and then a cheer as we all saw a rush of flame in the core of the pile. Then the next thing, there was a flash, and a bang. And then the crowd surged backwards. I remember how at first the sound of the explosion caused most of the girls present to start screaming hysterically. I mean, obviously the boys were screaming too, but it's ear-splitting sound of the girls that really stuck with me. Oops. Coco, thank you for the 1. Appreciate you. Opinions in the afterlife? We have to get there at all costs. We must get early access to afterlife. And bonus content. A sensitive bore, hopeless romantic that wishes I could go back to believing in everything and knowing nothing at all. Maybe that's exactly where you are, though, honestly, if you think about it. Sometimes it's a bit of a hubris to sit here and think that we have it all figured out. So maybe your natural inclination towards hopeless romanticism was the truth all along, and that the current perception of truth that you currently sort of wade in is maybe a false river of no knowledge. You know, maybe what you thought was abounding in fresh juices was actually just stinky mud. I mean, obviously the boys were screaming too, but it's ear-splitting sound of the girls that Maybe it's I don't know. I mean, obviously the boys are screaming too, but it's the ear-splitting sound of the girls that really stuck with me at the time. There were crates flying through the air, pieces of shattered wood flying even higher, and some of these pieces were actually on fire too, so they'd leave these trails of smoke in the air as they flew and fell. Okay, god damn it. There were crates flying through the air, pieces of shattered wood flying even higher, and some of these pieces were actually on fire too, so they'd leave these trails of smoke in the air as they flew and fell. It was pure chaos, and naturally kids were scared, so they were screaming. But then I also remember the distinct movement when the screams of terror were replaced by the screams of pain. I had been a few rows back as people gathered round the bonfire, so I quite literally had a meat shield of other kids in front of me when the explosion happened. So when it did happen, it sent all kinds of sharp wooden splinters into the kids in the front row, as well as a bunch of the kids in the second row too. The result was almost 20 to 30 students, all lying among the grass surrounding what by then was a blazing inferno, and almost all of them had suffered horrific injuries. Everyone had white shirts on because, since it was summer, almost everyone had left their blazers in their lockers. So imagine all that blood against all that shredded white linen, and how much more pronounced it was compared to if we'd been wearing our own clothes. Kids had suffered cuts from flat. That kid blew up his whole school. Do blue-eyed people actually think brown eyes are alluring, or is that just a pity comment? I don't know. I guess sometimes we are sort of enticed by that which is different from ourselves. Hanny, you got blue eyes, you like brown eyes? Well, there you have it. But would you say that you like brown eyes more than the blue? Because I'm sure even though you may see yourselves often if you have blue eyes, wouldn't the fact that like the rarity of blue eyes be also interesting? I remember for a while, like every time I watched like a Hollywood movie, there would always be someone in the Hollywood movie that would have blue eyes. Or like almost all of the actors in the show were blue-eyed, and something about that like really annoyed me, because obviously they picked the blue-eyed people because they were, rare and beautiful, and that's kind of like how they decide upon like actors and all that kind of stuff. But it just frustrates me that you're going to get that many like that concentration of like rare and beautiful people in like one place. It almost like takes you out of the film. I think a lot of people see blue eyes as superior, as kind of intimidating because we don't see blue very often in nature. Yeah. It's true. It's true. We see a lot of brown in the toilet, don't we? They say you look like a wolf. Dude, you might be a real-life wolf. Two-spirit. I adore the really electric blue eyes that few people have. They are pretty cool. But I do like the meme where it's like people with blue eyes and they're just like staring at you. Kids had suffered cuts from flying debris, burns from errant embers, and the shock of the blast itself. One girl's hair was almost completely singed away, and she was shrieking in pain from the burns to her ears and scalp. What had once been a joyous atmosphere had been transformed in a split second into one of blood, smoke, and terror. It was like something from a nightmare, but it was real. And for some of us, the reality of it kicked on sooner. Kicked on. Volcanic red, yeah. I have lightning exploding out of my balls and my face. My face balls. Yeah, my Balchinian. I'm from the planet Balchinia. Or is it Balchini? I forget. It was like something from a nightmare, but it was real. And for some of us, the reality of... God damn it! Okay. It was like something from a nightmare, but it was real. And for some of us, the reality of it kicked on sooner rather than later. Sometimes when I ponder on the nature of humanity, I remember how some kids reacted after the explosion. A lot of kids ran all the way back to the main school, some because they were scared and others because they wanted to inform teachers who would in turn summon emergency services. I think both options have their merits, and I don't blame anyone who ran because they were scared, because I was there and it was one of the most horrifically... God damn it. Sometimes there's just like words that I'm not expecting in the fucking sentence. It just doesn't sing. Your 3 sons, blonde, blue eyes, myself green with dark blonde, my wife amber red with hazel eyes. Huh. So I guess that is quite different, right? Or maybe it falls within the lineage of the red hair. I think both options have their merits, and I don't blame anyone who ran because they were scared, because I was there, and it was one of the most horrifically frightening scenes I've ever witnessed. But not everyone ran. I remember standing there probably gawping at the aftermath in complete horror when one kid, David Oakes, ran past me and towards the fire. He stopped, turned back, and shouted, giving me an effort. He stopped, turned back, and shouted, "Give me an effing hand, will you?" and then carried on towards the fire to help drag victims of the explosion away from it. And I snapped out of my daze and followed David, and then helped him drag or carry those who couldn't walk away from the fire. Their shirts and pants had been ripped, and there was blood all over the grass, and one kid, named Stuart, had a huge splinter sticking out of his leg. He wailed in agony whenever we tried to move him, but we didn't have a choice. It was that or burn to death that the fire started spreading across the grass. Not long after, the first teachers arrived with first aid kits in hand, and a teacher named Broughton. I don't think their names are necessary, honestly. I feel like we shouldn't actually put their names. I don't even know why they put them. Not long after, the first teachers arrived with first aid kits in hand, and a teacher started directing us on how to best care for the injured before the ambulances arrived. It was an incredible display of bravery and mental fortitude, one I'll remember for as long as I live, but the atmosphere very quickly turned from compassion towards those affected to anger towards those responsible. Ash had decided to stay in bed for that last day of school. After hearing about the bonfire explosion, his parents came home early from work and were about to rush to school to see if he was okay when they suddenly realized that he was in bed. At first, upon seeing that he was fine, they must have been relieved. I can only imagine their reaction when they realized Ash had stayed in bed all day, and it meant that he'd mostly... Should watch Kay's Cooking Eats Where I Learned How to Cook. Interesting. What did you learn on there? I can only imagine their reaction when they realized Ash staying in bed all day meant that he'd most likely stayed up all night, and that the bonfire had no doubt been built and then soaked in petrol during that same period. And as you can imagine, The parents of wounded children wanted heads to roll, so it was only a matter of days before Ash was questioned and then arrested by police on suspicion of arson and GBD. Wait. Do I like to drink? Nah, I don't like to drink. I like to have, I never drink, but if there ever is drinking at like a function, I'll have like just enough to feel like a little bit buzzed, and then that's it. Like more recently during this season, having like a really good like sort of cider or like some sort of cidery drink has been amazing. As you can imagine, I started to... Jesus Christ. Holy shit. Frank the Tank with a 70. Canadian. Thank you so much, Frank. My goodness, my friend. Big dono. You made me knock over my throne of empty soda bottles. Thank you, Frank. And if you have a message, please do at me. Very kind. Sometimes it doesn't let a message go through. You know it, bro. Thanks, dude. What you been up to? As you can imagine, the parents of wounded children wanted heads to roll, so it was only a matter of days before Ash was questioned and then arrested by police on suspicion of arson and GBH. We were convinced that he was going to get sent to prison or something. But not only did he never admit to building the bonfire, but the police didn't have a scrap of evidence that he was the one responsible. Everything hinged on Ash admitting it. Then when he didn't, the police had no choice but to let him go. They did everything they could to try and get CCTV footage of him doing just about anything. Stealing crates, building the bonfire. I heard they even canvassed petrol stations in the hopes of catching him buying petrol. I imagine they tried a ton of other stuff too, but none of it worked. And although most are 90% sure that it was him that built that bonfire, 99.9% in my case, Ash was never punished for it. There was only the lingering suspicion that he was responsible, but even then, he can't share all the blame. Ash didn't set that bonfire aflame. He didn't even have a hand in anyone. Ash didn't set that bonfire aflame. He didn't even have to hand anyone a lighter either. He simply planned it, built it, and then trusted that a bunch of naive, excitable children wouldn't be able to help themselves once they saw it. And he was right. Would you rather be chased by a group of wiener dogs or bunnies? Probably the wiener dogs, honestly. That sounds amazing. You love wieners? Nice, dude. Wieners are gross. Gross. Yucky. She pulls down your pants and she says, "What are those?" Pointing at your testicles. No. What is that? Yo! What is that? Have you seen that one meme of like the bird created in AI, but it has like testicles for a chin? And now they're using AI video to like explode that bird and squish it and kill it. See, that's what the internet's really all about, in my mind. Yes, that bird is a Balchinian as well. Traveler on my way home, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you. You don't watch demonic AI. I want to see that as like the top voted thing. Like, on a picture of a bird with testicles getting exploded, and someone's like, "This is demonic. This is the devil's work. I cannot gaze upon this. Should I sacrifice my eternal soul for a simple giggle? I think not." The demons will climb through my keyboard, through my iPhone. Frank, thank you again, and welcome to the Butter Sock Call. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, Frank. Joel, you should check out this thing called Atomic Annie. There's a 2-minute video that shows it being fired, and it's crazy. It's a cannon that shoots nukes. Where do you get these nukes? It's from probably toilet cleaner mixed with aluminum or something. That does sound crazy. Crazy cool. Where's your Bitcoin bros at? Let's see. Where's... Whoa, 1 second. Frank again with another 70 big Canadian dollars. Says, yeah, buddy, so good. Thank you, Frank. Very kind. Very, very kind. Jesus Louisish. It's going right to the Bitcoin fund. Just kidding. What is Bitcoin at right now, though? Let's take a peek. Let's take a squeak. It's at... Wow. It continues to rise. And it currently is at... Wow, dude. That's crazy. 1 Bitcoin is at $96,800. What even is Bitcoin? What do people even use it for? Why is it so highly valued? Are there just like... big whales that are like propping it up right now? Like, what is the deal? Do stocks? Why do stocks when you can 10x money? Untraceable money? I think that's the thing, is that I think it's so incredibly traceable. It's the most traceable. The military felt like my injuries made me practically worthless, so they discharged me to not be responsible anymore. Oh, I'm sorry, RJ. Hopefully you're recovering. Getting into the military is impossibly hard? Really, Don? I thought it was, like, pretty easy. I don't know. What do you guys like to invest in? Do you buy old Victorian-era paintings and get rich that way? Do you buy precious metals? Do you buy property? Do you buy silly little things that say a company is worth a certain amount and that you have a fraction of the value? You buy churches. Cool. Do you know what Dead Man Talking Stories is? He hasn't posted in like 6 months. Rumor says he passed away. I have never heard of him. I apologize. Hopefully he's not passed away, but that's very sad if so. Dead Man Talking. Dead Man Talking's Forest of Fear. Let's take a listen. You can listen to his voice too. Okay. Whoa.
Welcome to Dead Man Talking.
I was like half expecting it to be AI or something like that, but that does sound like a real person.
Even more harpies. After her exile, her offspring seduced mortal men and gave birth to even more of her screech owls. They would then slaughter the size of their...
Yeah, I never heard of them until right now. But hopefully they're doing okay. You probably answered this before, but do you edit your stories you receive before narrating them, or do you read them? I have people that compile them, do a little bit of editing to kind of make it more readable, but I think it's relatively limited to a degree. All right. Thank you guys again for the support. In the summer of In the summer before my senior year of high school, I got involved with a guy from a school called... Oh, is the school called Sean or the guy? I got involved with a guy from school. Okay. In the summer before my senior year of high school, I got involved with a guy from school named Sean. Our friend groups had kind of merged that summer, and two of our mutual friends were dating, but what we had... God damn it, I don't know why my brain just, like, not processing the writing. Sorry. You were listening to Southern Cannibal and you feel like it's all AI. Yeah, I don't know. Some people say they thought I was AI until they heard my streams, and I'm like, I guess I do have kind of that roboticness to it. It does make me pretty sad, though, that it won't be long before we are replaced. I don't know. I guess that doesn't mean much, because it's like the channel will still be up, but it's just sad to think that like really good voices will kind of like come out of nowhere that will sound very natural and probably grow quite fast. Our friend groups had kind of merged that summer, and two of our mutual friends were dating, but what we had was very much a situationship, and at first he seemed to understand that. Now I know that might sound cruel, to basically tell him, I like you, just not enough to be my boyfriend. But we had senior year coming up, the single most important year of high school, so I didn't want any distractions once school started up again. And like I said, he seemed to totally respect that at first. But when it came to going back to school, it was clear that he had no intentions of letting things go. At first, we kept things professional, and neither of us entertained the idea of hooking up again. I could tell he wanted to, and I'd be lying if I said his feelings were... Oh shit. Sully, thank you for the 5 gifters. To Hannah Grapes, Ross Layden, Amanda Funk, Mel Cooks, and Jeremy Lemp. Thank you, Sully. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for the gifters. You guys now have access to bonus content. Be sure to thank Mr. Sully. I could tell that he wanted to, and I'd be lying if I said his feelings were not reciprocated, but that was just the problem. Sean seemed like the perfect distraction, and at the time when I needed one like a whole... God damn it. I don't know why, like it just doesn't flow right in my mind. Sean seemed like the perfect distraction, and at the time when I needed one like a whole... Why the fuck does that sound so weird? Sean seemed like the perfect distraction, and at the time when I needed one like a hole in my head. But then, when it came to the holidays, he made me a very attractive offer. He claimed that he was handling his emotions, respected my desire to focus on school, but thought that we might be able to hook up again over winter break. And having him be that into me was very flattering, I won't kid you. And so I figured if he could continue to remain professional once school started up again, hey, why not? All of my other friends were either finding festive flings or hooking up with their boyfriends, so a little company over the holidays was very welcoming. Wait, whoops. All of my other friends were either finding festive flings or hooking up with their boyfriends, so a little company over the holidays was very welcome. But as it turns out, I made a huge error of judgment in thinking Sean could remain mature about it. We ended up going on a few dates around Christmas and New Year's, and they were great, but not long before we were due to head back to school, he asked if we could have a little talk. I knew what it was going to be about, and so the prospect filled me with this kind of dread, but I figured then would be as good a time as any to set him straight regarding our relationship, or lack thereof. But Sean was persistent. He agreed that school should take priority for me, but suggested that we could undertake study sessions together or something of that nature, and so he could see each other. Anybody here do anything creative? I don't know. I feel like I say I want to do a lot of things. Make music, make games, make something. But then I never really have like an actionable plan in which to go about said thing I want to do. Never rub ghost pepper on your genitals? I'll think about it. Do it all, just jump, man. Yeah, you're right, honestly. You're an art major, want to start on Etsy. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad, I feel like. Do you watch the news, especially for spooky stories? I don't, no. He agreed that school should take priority for me, but suggested that we could undertake study sessions together so we could see each other while school was still in session. Now, don't get me wrong, that sounded like a wonderful date idea, but it would be just that, a date, and since being together would not be conducive with concentration, it was a no from me on that one. Sean suggested that if I ended up getting into NYU, he could move to NYC so we could pursue a relationship there. I know it wasn't the craziest idea in the world, but the idea of him packing up his whole life for my sake was just way too much pressure. It just wasn't an idea I wanted to entertain. We were too young to let our stupid crush dictate the course of our lives, but Sean didn't feel that way at all, and unfortunately we went on to have a huge falling out over it. The discussion kept going around in circles, it seemed, and the more it did, the more it frustrated me. I kept telling him, I need to leave before I say something I regret, and he didn't let me leave, so I ended up saying something that I went on to regret. I said something, and he said something. Things got pretty heated, and then we both very angrily agreed to call it quits. It wasn't the way I wanted to end things with him, but he made any kind of Timothy Boone von Ochesy. I don't know if I said that right, but thank you for the 11. Let me see how you say that. That's a great last name. It's just fun to say. Let's check it out. Boone von Ochesy. Oh, here's Ochesy. O'Shea. Timothy Boone von O'Shea. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Timothy. Timothy. But yeah, thank you for the 11. Yeah, I think it says Dutch. I don't know. What's up, fun? How we doing? Okay. It wasn't the way I wanted to end things with him, but he made any kind of amicable split completely impossible. He'd gone from down for something casual to thinking that we were soulmates in 6 months, and so on the advice of a friend, I decided to go no contact. But then, since we both went to the same high school, that was much easier said than done. We didn't have any classes together, which I thank God for at the time, but it was inevitable that we'd bump into each other in the corridors. And when we did, it was awkward as hell. He tried to get my attention a few times, but I knew that it wouldn't do him any good. I'd said my piece, and I had nothing left to add, and the sooner that he got over me and moved on, the better, I thought. Acknowledging... God damn it, I cannot make it a fucking, paragraph. Maybe if I make the letters smaller. Hitsubasa, welcome back for 22 months. Says doop doop. Doop 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 doop. Doop 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 doop. Thank you for 22 months. Your home is under lighting? Lighting? What are you talking about? Lighting? Lightning? I mean, if there's a storm above your house with lightning, it's probably, you're probably A-okay, dude. Just enjoy the ride. Michael, take care, dude. Acknowledging him wouldn't have done either of us any favors, so I kept my eyes forward, kept walking, and prayed that he'd finally see some sense and stop trying to talk to me. But he didn't. Instead, Sean decided to start coming over to my family's home to try and speak with me face to face. And that only happened but one time, because when I realized it was Sean at the door, I told him he had exactly 1 minute to make himself disappear before my dad got to know what had been going on. He said that he wasn't leaving until we agreed to sit down and talk, so I stayed true to my word and told my dad that a guy from school was harassing me. He marched out toward the front door, and I couldn't watch at first, so I just stayed in the TV room and sat down on the couch with my head in my hands like, this cannot be happening right now. I have no idea what was said at first, and I'm not sure I want to. But the moment my mother and I heard my dad yelling, "Are you crazy? Get the hell off my property," we knew things were about to go south, quickly. The next thing we heard, my dad was getting real angry. Christine Baker, welcome back for 6 months. How you doing tonight, Joe? I'm doing good. Thank you, thank you. Welcome back for half a year. I'm in a throuple. How many is that? Like 16 people? And my boyfriend and our girlfriend keep fighting. What should I do? Probably break up with both of them, honestly. Go do something normal. The next thing, we heard my dad get real angry, and then the sounds of a struggle, so my mom and I ran outside to see my dad basically dragging Sean back up our driveway with a hand around his throat. He wasn't choking him, and Sean was trying to struggle against him, but my dad was way bigger and had no problem manhandling Sean off the property. It was pretty mortifying to us. It was honestly mortifying in the extreme, but a part of me was kind of glad things had come to a head, because at least after that, it would be over, right? Well, Sean let me know that that wasn't going to happen by saying that he was going to do something to me at school before spring break. My dad said something about him not coming to the house anymore, or he'd really give Sean an ass whooping. But then he responded by saying something like, "Oh yeah? Well, you can't protect her at school, can you?" It was enough to make my mom gasp with fright. Gasp. With fright. I thought a thruple. I never heard of a thruple. I've heard of a McThruple. But I don't know. I think that's a sandwich at McDonald's or something. I'm not sure. It was enough to make my mom gasp, because in a way, Sean was exactly right. He just couldn't. Dude, fuck me, I don't know. I get on a roll, and then I just don't. And then I don't know. As you would think, after doing this for 900 years, I don't know. You want a Big Mac or a McThruple? He just didn't count on my dad getting him suspended for that week of school before spring break. My dad called up our high school, had a long talk with our principal, and the end result was that Sean would be suspended for those final few days of school. He figured that might give me some peace of mind, and for a while, I guess it did. I felt way more at ease at school. I wasn't looking over my shoulder every 5 minutes, but I still wasn't completely relaxed. And that's because I knew that there was nothing anyone could do to stop Sean showing up on the last day of school. Outside school, I mean, because he basically knew exactly where I'd be and when. And this weighed on my mind the whole week. And then on Friday, the last day of school before spring break, I approached a guy named Ryan and asked if he could do me a huge favor. I knew Ryan from math, and we talked a little here and there, but we didn't consider each other friends by any stretch. He asked me what was up, and after gathering my thoughts, I asked if he could give me a ride home from school. Now at the time, a girl asking a guy for a ride home had become sort of a byword for "I like you," and since I was anxious over the Sean situation, I was very quick to let Ryan know that my request was only that, a request for a ride home and nothing more. I know for a fact that I was giving off these major... I'm bored. Anything else cool? What should we ask? What other news? Let's see. What are the nominees for Games of the Year awards? All right. As of scheduled for December 12th, they announced for the Game Awards 2024, Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantazio. I'd not heard of Balatro or Metaphor. Maybe I should write those down. Have you guys played these? You guys played these? You've heard of these? You played these before? If Hello Kitty Island Adventure doesn't win Game of the Year, I'll be pissed. I'll know that the whole thing is rigged. Balatro. Dude, I do really want to play Astrobot, but I don't have a PS5. It does look like old school, like Mario. ReFantazio. Boom. We're going to be gaming later. I'm giving Joel my signature wedgie if I... It just eviscerates me in half. Whoosh. Man, that was some sharp underwear. Stardust Valley. Oh, Stardew Valley. Never really got into Stardew, to be honest with you. That's where you just do farming and shit. How many pillows do I sleep with? I just have one. I tend to prefer my pillows flat. If it's too bulky, I just feel like it pushes my head forward and feels really awkward. We got our signature wedgie coming up. I know for a fact that I was giving off major panicky vibes because he had this big frown on his face before he asked me what was going on. And he was just being polite. He knew what had happened with Sean and my dad, and really everyone knew, and I guess he just wanted to hear it for himself. But if he didn't, well, I sure told him. After that, he said he was game. God damn it, After that, he said he was game to drive me just about anywhere and said to meet him at the back of his locker come the end of school so he could walk me to my car. And I felt this wave of utter relief wash over me, and then after thanking him from the very bottom of my heart, I went about my day feeling like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. I usually walked home, a route that Sean was very familiar with, so if he wanted to confront me, I had no doubt that's where he'd do it. School seemed like there'd be too many people around for such a potentially embarrassing confrontation, so getting a ride home seemed like it eliminated that possibility entirely. But let me assure you, seemed as doing an assload of heavy lifting in that sentence. A few hours later, Oh, you have your dead grandpa's pillow? Honestly, sometimes pillows from like a century ago that's got like your grandparents' sort of like drippings in it. It usually goes pretty hard as long as you put like a new covering on it. Do the blue light settings mess with your eyes, Joel, or is the writing which is throwing you off? I actually have the orange, I have this thing called Flux, which just makes everything on my screen like orange. But I don't know what it is. I because I'm dry reading, I sort of anticipate certain words to flow out of certain words, and then it just doesn't, and then I'm like, oh, that's wrong, and I'm just dumb. Are you a Sturgill Simpson guy? I've never heard of that. Who's that? Is that a porn star? Sturgill Simpson. This guy looks like the bear from that cooking show where he screams that he needs hands. He looks so familiar, like some actor I've seen a million times. Who does he look like? I swear to God, there's something I've seen of this guy's face 1,006 times. Yeah, I'm not really into country, to be honest with you. I've just never been my thing. A few hours later, come the end of school, I met Ryan at his locker and we made our way towards the student parking lot. As we walked, I thanked him profusely for a second time and then said how, if he knew the kind of favor he was doing me, he'd be charging me airline prices to ride in that passenger seat. Again, I think Ryan knew exactly what kind of favor he was doing for me because news about the fight between Sean and my dad swept through school like the September sniffles. But he chose not to make a big deal out of it, which I thought was really sweet of him. I remember this feeling of almost weightlessness, the impression that everything was going to be fine because there really were good people still out there. And then a split second later, I heard the rev of an engine and the screech of tires. I turned back to see a silver sedan roaring through the parking lot in our direction. It was coming at us almost impossibly fast, and there was a split second where I really did think, holy crap, this is it. I'm gonna die. But then the next moment, I was hurtling to the left and hitting the... asphalt so hard that I felt a surge of pain shoot through my shoulder. I fell between two cars, both of which protected me from the silver sedan as it smashed into them. Ryan, on the other hand, was not so lucky. Upon seeing the silver sedan speeding towards us, Ryan's first thought was to shove me out of the way. But in doing so, he made sure that it was far too late to get his own self out of its path. I didn't actually see it happen, but I later heard the car hit him so hard that he went flying through the air before landing in this just heap. But in the moment, all I was interested in was getting as far away from it as possible, either because it was about to take another... Holy shit, some nice guy literally had to die for this. That's so lame, dude. I hope he's not dead. Yeah, there's another crate explosion. Out of nowhere, his car exploded. You try to be a nice guy one time. That's what I'm saying, dude. If a girl ever comes to you and says that she needs help with a guy or there's a guy situation, say that you gotta go play Halo 2 or something, because it's just not worth fucking getting shot over or whatever. Halo 2 specifically. You gotta play online. But at that moment, all I was interested in was getting as far away from it as possible, either because it was about to take another charge at me, or the driver was about to get out of it and finish the job by hand. As I tried to stand, the driver slammed the car into reverse. I couldn't put any weight on my left arm at all, so it took me longer than it normally would have to find my feet, and this gave the driver time to reverse, get a decent run-up, and then drive at me once more in the hopes of inflicting some kind of extreme physical trauma. I'd just made it to my feet before he slammed into the rear of the car to my left, but by that time, I was mobile enough to jump back away from that danger zone. I remember how after the smash, I looked into the driver's side of the car to see who it was, but in my heart, I already knew. I knew who was driving that car from the second I saw it speeding at us. It was Sean, and he'd come to kill me. I just ran, faster than I'd ever had before in my life, and luckily, because of how the parking lot was set up, Sean had to navigate around the blocks of parked cars while I was quite easily able to get the hell out of there by running through the smaller gaps. After that, I'm pretty sure that he took off with the police looking for him, whereas I ended up with the school nurse before being taken to the hospital. And the doctors at the hospital had a bunch of questions for me, and so did the cops, but all I wanted to know was one thing, and that's how Ryan was doing. It took a while to get a solid answer on that, but when I did, I wept with relief. He was alive, barely, but he'd managed to hang on. And it was me that had been the target of Sean's attack, and I'd walked away with nothing but a broken arm. Ryan, on the other hand, had a fractured skull, broken ribs, a pelvic fracture, and even a bunch of herniated discs in his spine, which I've heard can be incredibly painful. And that was the hit that I should have taken, and there's nothing to say that would have been as... Yeah. The fractured skull and the broken ribs and pelvics, those aren't that bad. It's the herniated discs that really fuck people up, huh? That's so lame, dude. Oh, Code M is pissing you off. What's Codem? C-O-D-M. I saw someone typing that a few times. I don't know what that is. Call of Duty Mikalsen. The newest game. The newest game from the creators of Poop. Oh, Call of Duty Mobile. Okay. From the creators of Shit in a Toilet comes Call of Duty Mobile. Call of Duty Trash Compactor. That was the hit that I should have taken. And there's nothing to say I would have been... Goddamn, and there's nothing to say that's not... That was the hit that I should have taken. And that's not to say that I would have been as yeah, baby. That was the hit that I should have taken. And that's not to say that I would have been as fortunate as Ryan in surviving such unfortunate injuries. I owed him my life, and now I'm set to spend the rest of it with him in holy matrimony. We ended up meeting for drinks a few years after we both graduated because I wanted to catch up and buy some cocktails for the man that saved my life. That became a regular thing, and now I'm all set to be Miss... Why do they put... Don't put your... Guys, don't send your full first and last names in... I mean, maybe it's made up, but don't put your first and last name. Oh my god. That became a regular thing, and now I'm all set to become Mrs. Ryan in the summer. Checking on Ryan turned out to be one of the best decisions I'd ever made, but as far as Sean's doing, I couldn't give a rat's ass, and I hope his time in prison was hell on earth. He got 15 years for attempted murder, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was released before then, but honestly, I don't know if that was the case or not. I haven't checked. Yeah. I'm set to become enter social security number here. Before you send in a story, there will be a form that you guys have to fill out with lots of personal details that I promise not to use to purchase a home under your name. I haven't checked because I don't care, and I don't worry about ever bumping into Sean either, because if he ever chooses to show up at my family's house, it'll be the last thing he ever does. Call of Duty. Alright, friends. We got one more story after this. Thanks for chilling and hanging out. This last story is gonna be a doozer. So I'm gonna go get myself some magnesium. Get a little drinky drink. And like I said, I'll BRB. Talk amongst yourselves. Alright. 420 blaze it. Ree, thank you for the 5 gifters too. Raven C, Coco, Michael Morgan, Paige, Dentiste, and Chris Johnstone. Ree, thank you so much for the gifter. Welcome, friends. You guys now have access to bonus content. You're gonna write a story and have me read it? Which story is this? You know it cost $1 million to get me to read, don't you know that? I have unsettling stories I could tell about creeps, but it's nothing worth submitting. Damn. You see, I make money off of people's misery, so the more terrible experiences you guys can go out and have, the better. I feed off of trauma. Alright. Are there any scary Thanksgiving stories? There will be. We're compiling some now. I always almost kind of like forget about Thanksgiving sometimes, but I'm going to release a Thanksgiving video for Monday the 25th, but we'll stream it on Sunday. Is Joel a millionaire? I'm not, no. Gummy worms. Alright, homies. We got this last story here of the schmeevening. Your stepdad threw a TV at you? Like how we talking? Like 60-inch flat screen? LCD? Was it a Roku enabled? Did it have a DVD player? If you guys were millionaires, what would you even do? And what's a millionaire? Like $1 million? And if you have $1 million, would it be $1 million in cash? Or would you have $1 million of like net worth? Like assets and whatnot? 7 million? What? That's 7 times what I initially said. You might be a millionaire. Once I was waiting for the bus at night and this guy came up and pressed against me and screamed at the back of my head, then left. I was crying when I got on. The bus driver was dressed. That's how he lets you know that he likes you. The bus driver was dressed like Santa and gave me a tiny candy cane. Here you go, kiddo. That was just one of my elves. Yeah, a big check. It says a schmillion buccarinos on it. The last day of school before Christmas was always something I looked forward to as a kid. I love Christmas in general, and it goes without saying that I look forward to the day itself a lot more, but I enjoyed, damn it, I said my name. What if all of my, mistakes was actually me accidentally saying my name? Because I'm that insane. I'm that much of a freaking narcissist, yeah. Start a trust fund. Get it earning its own money. Let's see, what the heck? Maybe we could start one for you guys to go to college. What is a trust fund? A trust fund is a financial agreement in which a legal entity known as a trust holds and manages assets or property on behalf of our beneficiary or beneficiaries. It is typically established by a grantor or settlor who sets the terms of the trust, names the beneficiaries, and designates a trustee to oversee and manage the assets according to the trust's rules. It sounds like you would need a lot of capital to start something like that. The person who creates the trust, trustee, beneficiary assets, the property of investments held by the trust, such as money, real estate. Oh, okay, the real estate stocks, revocable trust, irrevocable trust, living trust, purpose of a trust fund, wealth preservation, estate planning. How much money do you usually need for a trust fund? I am the trust fund. Like, oh, this YouTube channel is my trust fund. They trusted it to me. You can start a trust with as little as a few $1,000s. However, that'd be funny. All the people you call a trust fund kid is like, yo, his dad gave him over $5,000. Damn. He's fucking swimming in it. Wasted all on cocaine. The trust is permanently managed by distributing. Who gives a shit? Anyways, we'll figure it out when we go to the bank together as a family of 420 people. I loved Christmas in general, and it goes without saying that I look forward to the day itself a lot more, but I enjoyed the school Christmas party nonetheless. There'd be a Christmas disco and a buffet, party hats and Christmas crackers, even a few games like Pass the Parcel and musical chairs, all soundtracked by classic Christmas pop songs, like the likes of Slade and Wham. What? You get $1 million, and you get $1 million. I remember there was a part of me, like, when I first started. Never mind. There'd be a Christmas disco and a buffet, party hats and Christmas crackers, even a few games like Pass the Parcel and musical chairs, all soundtracked by classic Christmas pop songs by the likes of Slade and Wham. And things got slightly different as we got older and progressed into secondary school. There were no more Christmas parties in the afternoons, and the buffet with party bags was relegated to a few pigs and blankets on your plate come lunchtime. But there was still a very festive atmosphere around the school. Some teachers wore Christmas jumpers and were much more laid back than usual. Others phoned it in completely and just let us watch an hour's worth of A Muppet's Christmas Carol, or in the case of our history teacher in 2003, the entire first hour of Saving Private Ryan. But then, in that same year of 2003, the last day of school before the Christmas holidays turned out to be anything but festive and joyful. It was Friday. I remember it being a Friday in December of 2003, and this might sound like a bit of a time warp to some of you, but I distinctly remember my mates and I being really excited to play Call of Duty. See, the original game, back when it was a World War II shooter, came out in the autumn of 2003, and that was the same year our history teacher showed us a bit of Saving Private Ryan, even though we were in year 8 and the film was 15, which was very cool of him. And so, as you can imagine, my mates and I were very hyped about playing a cutting-edge FPS set during the period of history. I haven't done the sarcastic voice yet tonight. Which one's that? I don't even know what sarcasm is. It sounds gross. It sounds like something people in a throuple would do. Get their sarcasm everywhere. What's up, Jonesy? How we doing? So, as you can imagine, my mates and I were mega hyped about playing a cutting-edge FPS set during that period of history, and it was all we'd been talking about for weeks. After lunch, spirits were still high as we sat in geography class as the teacher had yet again opted to just put a film on and wasn't fussed about us talking amongst ourselves. My mates, Nick... My friend Nick and I were gabbing away about... Motherfucker, Jesus Christ. My friend Nick and I were gabbing away about Call of Duty, and our desk was on the right-hand side of the classroom next to some windows which overlooked the school's main courtyard from the second floor. That meant that, as I was talking to Nick, I could see over his shoulder and into the empty courtyard. I'm mostly paying attention to him, and the courtyard is deserted because classes were in session, so there was nothing to distract me while we were talking. But then suddenly, a man I didn't recognize walked into the empty courtyard, wearing a dark jumper, jeans, and what looked like work borks. He's wearing his borks, guys. I could see like some pretentious person talking about like I don't know, they review stand-up comedy sets or something, or like some fucking stupid British show. And they're like, I declare that this show is absolutely sarcasmic. They do say that, actually, shit like that. They say it's dripping with sarcasm. Like it's fucking cum in a bucket. It's not. Sarcasm is not just cum in a bucket. It's serious. What'd you think of the fight last week, Jake versus Tyson? It was sad, honestly. I really didn't expect to see it, but then I ended up at a friend's house and we were watching Netflix and we like threw the Jake Paul thing on. And yeah, there were issues with the stream and stuff, but like the entire time it just like he looked like a fucking, I don't even know, like Skeletor. Not even Skeletor, just like some old man who has... It honestly reminded me of like Muhammad Ali, but like when he has like Parkinson's and he's out there fighting. And it was just really, really depressing to watch because Jake Paul won, but he won by points and like not that many more points than Mike Tyson. And I hate him. I hate him so much. Not even, but more so from that fight because it was like, he sat there and like opened his mouth and like stuck his tongue out or something like he was taunting Mike Tyson. I was like, bro, you haven't done anything yet. What is there to be cocky about when you and him, you literally look as boring as a 58-year-old fucking dead body, you know, and it pisses me off because it's like you saw the training videos of Mike Tyson getting back into it and he was freakishly agile and good, and I'm sure maybe he had some injuries and stuff, and yes, it probably was staged, but it's just so sad because at this point it's like, imagine being like a celebrity where you go to all the important bullshit of the week, the big fight, the big game, yada yada yada, you get to watch the gladiators entertain you, and you know, but now because of just like where culture has gone, like some social media entertainer is somehow like one of the most exciting things that like pay-per-view could drum up while they bring some dude out of his casket and reanimate his corpse to fight. It just makes zero sense, and then it turns out to be literally as boring as you could ever possibly imagine it to be. It was really, really fucking sad. Now granted, yes, did Mike Tyson get $20 million and Jake get $40 million and all of us got duped and they just, you know, laughed to the bank? Probably. And saved each other, you know, any sort of head injuries? Yes. But it's also sad to think that that we didn't get to see Jake Paul's like brain explode. I was genuinely very excited to like see Mike Tyson's fist go through Jake's skull. You know, I thought that's what we might actually get. Or if he were to go into like cannibal mode, you know, like what was it, Evander Holyfield or whatever, like I was just hoping that maybe he would bite his face off like he was on bath salts or something. I don't know, I was hoping we were going to get something. Now granted, it was free on Netflix if you had a subscription, but I How the fuck did they get that much money though? 40 million, 20 million? I don't know. What a waste of time. Honestly, like this whole fucking like D-celebrity, D-list like YouTube celebrity bullshit fights, like please just stop doing it. Just stop. I get it. People had beef with each other and they're like, well, let's fight. Oh, well, let's market it and then make money off of the fight. Okay, good idea. Yeah, but it's like you still subjugate all of your viewers to have to sit there and watch the most unskilled fucking like Stardew Valley nerds play and fight, like throw, I don't even know, wet fucking noodles into each other's faces. It's just embarrassing. And then they get like winded by 2 minutes, which granted, boxing does wind the fuck out of you very, very fast. Andrew Tate is challenging Jake Paul. Dude, damn it. We can't, guys, no, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. We can't let them win. We can't keep giving Jake money, man. We can't keep giving Jake money. And I know in the back, it's like election season. We always think like something is going to change, or that this is the hope and change that life is going to bring with this. That's what Jake is trying to pull on us right now. He's trying to make us think that this time you'll get to see his head get smushed, or that maybe he'll kill Andrew Tate or something. But no, don't let them manipulate your emotions to then waste your entire fucking evening when you could be jerking off. You could be jerking off for free on a website that at least doesn't have any lag. But yeah, I did fall for it. But then suddenly, a man I didn't recognize walked into the empty courtyard wearing a dark jumper, jeans, and what looked like work boots. I say I didn't recognize him, but the school had all kinds of ground staff and visitors coming through every day, so it wasn't like the sudden appearance of someone new was going to alarm me, and I carried on talking to Nick after diverting my gaze for only a moment. But then, instead of just walking across the courtyard to whatever... The Dark Jumper Man. Jumpman 23. Oh my god. But then, instead of just walking across the courtyard to wherever he was going, the man stopped and began looking around like he was lost. Again, that behavior wasn't anything I found particularly alarming. People unfamiliar with new places often do stuff like that, don't they? But then instead of taking a look around and then heading off in whatever direction he was headed, the guy just kind of stopped, looked up toward the sky, and then started just sort of staring at it. My attention was diverted from Nick for a second time, but unlike the first time, I gave the guy such a confused look that Nick turned to see what I was looking at. We both looked at the guy for a few moments like, what the bloody hell is he doing? And Nick then made a joke about a seagull doing a well-aimed poo, and we sang I'm Dreaming of a Shite Christmas until our teacher told us to stop swearing. I honestly thought the fella would have moved on by the time we'd told... Cheeky bloke. David with a 2 says Jake Paul versus... Hey, yo, Mr. White. Just stand there. Just stand there. And if you ever get any inclinations to, like, throw a punch or anything, just bite your gloves. Just bite your gloves so that you can hold back that inner demon within inside you. You got to get the bag. You got to secure the bag. That's 20 mil. I'm doing it for family. I'm doing it for community. Jake Paul's a good kid. I don't want to hurt him. Jonesy with the 10 says, dude, I forgot to tell you. Check out the trailer of this movie coming out called Ash with Aaron Paul. No joke. When I saw it, I thought of you. Interesting. Ash. Aaron Paul. It better not be gay porn. Again. Alright. Okay, we can peep that later, but thank you, Jones. I appreciate you. Hey, Emily, thank you. Good to see you. All right. Look up Boko no Pico. Is that a horror thing? Jake Paul and Taylor Swift are the same person. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. At least Taylor puts on a show. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just weird to think. Like, imagine being. Well, actually, let's ask ChatGPT that question. Can you give me a rundown of Jake Paul's net worth over the years and the key moments for its increase? Because this is the one thing that I find like to be the most interesting. Is just like, let's see, 2013, Jake Paul began his career in now defunct Vine. 2016 to 18, he starred as Dirk Mann on Disney Channel's Bizaardvark, which increased his visibility and earnings. I didn't know that. 2016, 2018, I had no idea he was on Disney Channel at that time. Paul's YouTube channel gained immense popularity, leading to significant ad revenue and brand partnerships. Transition to boxing and business venture. Paul entered the boxing scene in 2020. He made his professional boxing debut against Anason Gibb, securing a victory. 2020, Paul found Most Valuable Promotions, a boxing brand agency, and co-founded the venture capital firm Anti-Fund, diversifying his income streams. All right. 2022, where's the money? Net worth estimates. 2021 estimates placed Paul's net worth at $30 million. 2023 increased to $80 million, bolstered by lucrative boxing matches. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was the big jump. Like, obviously he was making a ton of money off of, like, the vlogging, the Disney Channel promotional stuff, and whatever. But, like, just this, like, huge jump by doing these, like, boxing matches. That, to me, is, like, the most brilliant part, is essentially providing people with literally the worst boxing you've ever seen in your entire life, the least exciting thing, but just something about, like, hating him and making you hate him makes you go watch his stuff, gets eyes on it, and therefore increases the value of whoever he sells it to. So guys, even if fucking Andrew Tate shows up to get his head smashed in like a watermelon, don't look. Close your eyes. We can't give them any hypothetical money anymore. I honestly thought the fella would have moved on by the time we'd been told to shut up, but when I looked out the window, he was still there, staring at the cloudy gray sky like he was hypnotized by it, or could see something no one else could. The spot where the guy was standing was surrounded by buildings like the teacher's lounge, the modern languages block, and the geography block, which was where me and Nick were. Then as we're looking at him, wondering what the guy's problem was, a French teacher named Miss Hamilton walked out of the teacher's lounge and did a proper double take at the guy still staring at the sky. Nick and I were in stitches at this again, because Hamilton was a dour woman, if ever there was one, and seeing that dourness directed at someone other than us was somehow very satisfying. Most likely under the assumption that this guy was supposed to be there, Miss Hamilton tried walking straight past him, and at first, the bloke didn't seem to notice that she was there. But then suddenly, he spun his head around to look at her, and everything changed in an instant. His eyes lit up, and as he aggressively turned towards Miss Hamilton, she stopped dead in her tracks, and the man then raised something above his head, and although I couldn't see exactly what it was, Miss Hamilton certainly could. The sight of it caused her to back up a few steps before she turned around and legged it back towards the teacher's lounge as fast as her legs could carry her. And the strange man followed, not quite as fast as her, but still just meters behind, and in a split second, Nick and I went from laughing and joking to, oh no, this is serious. Nick didn't watch the whole thing unfold. He turned back towards our geography teacher and was shouting, "Sir, someone's chasing Miss Hamilton." But I saw the whole thing. Hamilton only made it back into the teacher's lounge by maybe half a yard before the man chasing her started bashing at the door with something I didn't realize was some kind of hammer or mallet. But by then, our geography teacher had seen what was happening, and after telling us all to stay put and not look out the windows, he ran out of our classroom and ran downstairs to lock the door to the whole geography block. He told us this once he... Oh. What's up, Matt? You're welcome. He told us that once he'd returned, so we all... Wait, fuck. What is this saying? Bollocks. He told us this once he'd returned, so we all felt... Oh, okay. God. For some reason, I'm expecting, like, the sentence to be, like, linear, but it's, like... Yeah, my bad. He told us this once he returned, so we all felt a lot safer. But there was obviously still the matter of the guy walking around trying to attack people with his hammer, and so our teacher pulled out his mobile and called the police. He'd already told us to stay away from the windows, but no one listened to him, and I remember at one point, the guy looked up at our classroom windows, right at us, and then looked... He scratched his chin balls, his balchinians. As a balchinian does. What do you guys think is like the most alien creature on planet Earth? Because, you know, you think about like a balchinian from like Men in Black and how they have their testicles on their chin, but otherwise they're relatively humanoid. It makes some sense where, for whatever reason, in our, you know, biological processes, the testicles or the reproductive sperm, you know, basically wherever you keep your pee, it formed on the chin of the face. And that seems reasonable. You guys saying octopus. The mole cricket, what the hell is that? You're making that up. Topanga. Topanga from Boy Meets World. She's pretty baffling. Google the mole cricket. Google sonic inflation. Mole cricket. Oh, what the fuck? That thing's weird, dude. It looks fucking huge. Oh, and it burrows through shit? Where the fuck does this live? We need to kill all of these things, I think. If you guys see one of these, give them my permission to smush it. Let's see, the mole cricket. A cylindrical, where's its domain? Kingdom. Phylum. No, I don't care about all that nerd shit. Where's it at? Oh, it lives in... Oh. Like North Africa, Middle East. Of course. All the terrifying shit. Yeah, seahorse is a bit strange. There's a jellyfish that never dies. Every time it's about to die, it becomes a baby again and grows up all over again. Really? Like it just like splits itself apart or something? Mantis shrimp. Yeah, I guess like all the shit in the deep sea, for sure. That's probably where H.P. Lovecraft, he always talks about all of his inspirations coming from the sea and how alien all that shit was. He'd already told us to stay away from the windows, but no one listened to him. And I remember at one point, the guy looked up at our classroom windows, right at us, and the look in his eyes was so freaky that one of the girls actually squealed in fright before she backed away from the window. I don't blame her for screaming either, because not only was there a look in this guy's eyes like he completely lost his mind, but he looked deformed. He had swellings around his eyes and cheekbones, things I know. He had swellings around his eyes and cheekbones, things I now realize were the results of someone hitting him in the face somewhere else while trying to defend themselves. But at the same time, his face was so effed up, and his hair was all wild and bedhead-like too, that it looked like our school had been invaded by some kind of hammer-wielding hills-have-eyes mutant. Our geography teacher, a guy called Mr. Griffiths, told us all again to get back away from the window, and then when we ignored him, he literally roared at everyone to get out of the classroom and wait in the corridors. I say this in half jest, but I honestly don't know which freaked us out more at the time, some random bloke with a hammer having a violent mental breakdown, or seeing a meek, gentle-hearted geography teacher like Mr. Griffiths suddenly scream at us like that. It was so scary because it showed how frightened he was, and a display of fear and authority like that ramped up the anxiety levels by a good couple of notches. And we did as he told us. Oh, man. We still got a ways to go with this story. Damn. I figured it would just be like that and then be over. Why don't they explore and map out the national parks and forests, start there and then the ocean and space? You should do it, Marley. That's your job. That's your new assignment while here on Earth. Map out all the national parks and forests, then the ocean, then space. Jerusalem cricket. Sounds scary. I told Chris Pratt I wanted to have his babies as a joke, and he put me on blast in an interview for EW. What do you mean? What happened? You mean like on Twitter or something like that? Are you a celebrity, Justin? I was looking at your socials, and normally you can look at someone's like followers and see like, oh, they have more followers than people they follow, so that means they have significance in this society. Would you rather run naked in a Catholic church or into a gay bar? I don't know which one would spread my cheeks faster, to be honest with you. You don't like that term, so no. Well, I guess, what do you do, like, creatively? I guess that's within the entertainment realm. We did as he told us, went out into the corridor, and waited there while trying not to freak out too much. We could hear Mr. Griffiths talking to the police, asking them to be as quick as they could because the man would most likely attack the next person he saw. Apparently, our teachers were all calling each other on their mobiles and telling each other to keep everyone inside. So at least for a couple of minutes, we all had the impression that although the situation was severe, our teachers had it under control. But that only meant that when chaos returned, the fear was so palpable you could practically taste it. Like I said, we were standing in the corridor of the geography block, which was only quite small, with 2 classrooms on the ground floor and the 2 on the first. There was also an open L-shaped stairway leading down, heading down. Shite and a bite. Having a shite, having a bite. Having a bite and a shite. Isn't it weird, like, the things that we celebrate in society is all just kind of like comparing ourselves to the other humans? Like, it's always based on what the humans think about you, you know what I mean? Or other humans perceive you as such. If they celebrate you, you then celebrate yourself in excitement that you're being celebrated by the other humans. But if you got rid of all the other humans, I mean, do you think like a big herd of elk would give a shit about anything that you... Do you think they would listen to my scary Reddit stories or no? I hope so. I hope that the elks would still like and subscribe. If you give them food, they would listen. Oh, that's a good point, see? It's still the same thing. It's still the same sort of situation where it's like what value you provide to the other creature. Which I guess is just all interactions with every other living being is like, what do you provide to them and what do they provide to you? In this sort of like ongoing, mutual relationship. Honestly, I guess everything sort of operates on that same perspective. The bacteria that exists in our gut from the time that we're born until we pass away and it digests us. And, Disney Plus. They want our money. We want all the shitty Star Wars shows. There was also an open L-shaped stairway heading down, so we were able to hear anything that happened down there. So, when we heard the sound of hammering, then a smash of glass, it took us seconds to realize what was going on. The guy with the hammer couldn't smash his way through the block's main door, but he could smash his way through one of the windows, climb through the empty frame, and then make his way to us through the classroom's unlocked door. And to say that caused panic would be a major understatement. We screamed back into the classroom telling Mr. Griffiths what we'd heard downstairs, and he immediately burst into action. He told the 9999 operator. It's pouring outside. Yeah, it was rainy earlier. Hey, Teacup, what's good? Pet birds are basically pet dinosaurs. Yeah, I wonder which degree of dinos actually just had feathers. Also, my one friend was playing this game called The Isle, and it's kind of sick. Like, there's a various types of dinosaurs that you can pick from, and you get to play from them from the point that they hatch out of an egg. You can also play as like crocodiles and stuff. Do I want your snow? Honestly, not really. I mean, snow is kind of chill, but it is annoying to drive on. Delete your Disney subscription until they start making good movies. Yeah, I think that's the unfortunate part about like subscription services, is that it's more about just like pumping out schlop. It basically brings like higher caliber movies down to the brings them closer to like YouTube videos more so than, I don't know, something that's culturally relevant. And I think that's what someone made a good point the other day. I heard a video where they were talking about how like modern movies are just like not culturally relevant anymore. Like they might be culturally relevant in the fact that they talk about things that are in the news or something of that nature, but like they don't maintain a cultural relevancy as far as longevity goes, because it's like you still see kids who have Star Wars, like old Star Wars, Jurassic Park, you know, Back to the Future, shit of that nature. But like the modern day writers, like something's gone wrong in their minds, and the only way that I can, you know, a lot of people, like in my mind, like a lot, like you'll see the groups of people who say like, oh, it's woke or whatever, which I get. Like I get where they're coming from with that, where it's like forced, I'm not even sure what you want to call it, like forced moral objectivity of the modern sense that is like performative for the most part. But at the same time, those same types of films, like I said, tend to not be culturally relevant or culturally standing for a long period of time. Like they're just like forgotten and pissed away into the wind, just as much as like, maybe even more so than a video that I made like a year ago. Like I'll never remember it and I'll never think about it again. And it's just sad to think that films just no longer hold any sort of aspect of significance in our culture anymore. Like no one's remembering them, no one's caring about them, no one's like, I don't know, making a fucking cool line of toys about it as much. You'd be, you know, more likely to have your kid probably wants to buy fucking Mr. Beast Feastable toys than whatever the fuck else. I got a stalker here. It's probably you, dude. Formal apologies expressing that too much last time I caught my live. Big love. Let's read so much. And this is my formal apology for expressing that too much last time. Oh, you're good. No worries. You can tell me you love me all day. It makes me feel good. Or you could tell other people you love them. Make them feel good. Boom. Heretic was a good movie. Okay. I do want to see that. I was really looking to voice acting, like for real, not for play. You got the juice, man. The juice. People want to sip. I want to, man. And I can't say that I gave it like the most shot per se. Like I haven't given it the best shot, but I like created like a backstage account. I created a reel, which you can find on my Let's Read ASMR channel if you want to listen to that and tell me if I really got the juice. But like, and I took a few like acting classes, and I paid good money to like consult with like 3 pretty popular like voice acting people, and basically just like pick their brain stuff. And it's just annoying because it's like they all like say the same shit where they're like, oh, you know, take acting classes and hope you get lucky, essentially, or hope you meet the right people and, you know, put yourselves in the right position to whatever. But it seemed like every one of them were just like, yeah, you know, my situation was unique, and like almost basically saying like they had the skills, but they got lucky with who they knew. And a lot of them are very guarded too about how they got to where they are. You know, they don't want to like it's like giving away your fishing spot. You don't want people to know about your, you know, even if you have a heart attack there, the dispatcher's like, where are you? And you're like, never mind. And you hang up because you don't want to give away your fishing hole. And, yeah, I don't know. Many creatives are guarded like that. And that's understandable. And I realized at the end of the day, it's like, maybe I should, you know, a lot of them are all like, even with their success, they're all trying to do something independent like this, right? Like even with all the success of Matt Mercer and like, you know, the voice actors and actresses within his crew, it's like they found the most financial freedom through doing their independent, you know, D&D thing. critical role. And that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, to decentralize your income so you're not like feast or famine on where you can sort of expect to get your next paycheck, and you can take your own personal skills and market them in a more independent sense, and also do, you know, things like, you know, like the stuff I do for bonus content and getting crowdfunding support and whatever. And like, but I do know what you mean in the sense that there's something like deep within me that's like, if I don't do voice acting in some degree somewhere and get some sort of acclaim or whatever, or like recognition for doing something officially, it's like I haven't accomplished anything. And it is kind of funny, like a lot of the voice actors, you talk to them, they don't respect YouTubers at all, because to them YouTubers aren't professionals, you know what I mean? Like, they look at YouTubers as like not being up to snuff with their like theater kid lifestyle or whatever the fuck. But honestly, I think they should take YouTubers a lot more seriously, because YouTubers have a huge backing of people who, you know, who they might not necessarily be up to the same skills, but if you befriend those individuals, you could grow your, you know, you could market yourself to a degree. If some voice actor came to me and said, hey, I wanted to read a story on your channel, and, you know, can you promo my, I don't know, my independent stream or something like that, I would do it, you know? I don't even know what I'm talking about, honestly. To be honest, you already have what many would view as success. Exactly, yeah. So it's like sitting there looking kind of down on myself because I'm not, you know, in Dragon Ball or whatever anime bullshit is next. You know, it's kind of pointless to ruminate upon, because honestly, 1 million subscribers, 5 million views on YouTube, over 100,000 views on every episode on the podcast, like, that's success. I have succeeded. I have as many as Kardashian. Which Kardashian, though? Khloe? The scary one? They're upset because we had to go through the hoops of real-life connections and networking, and I agree with you. They're jaded because they had to move to LA and suck the weenies. Yeah, I agree. Dude, and that's what I would hate. Like, New York City is not a bad city. Let me just start with that. But when I went there, there was something about it that I knew that if I went here and tried to like find some sort of personal success, that my soul would just be completely slurped from deep within me. And I feel like, I'm not saying that this is the exact same thing that occurs in LA, but there definitely is a parallel. And I'm not sure that I have the motivation to go all the way out there just in hopes that I could, you know, end up on, you know, Kiki's delivery service or whatever. Even though that would be sick. I wouldn't mind being the sarcastic cat. Oh, geez, Kiki. That's pretty fucking stupid. If you ask me, I'm the cat. Fuck you. Where's my food? Bruce. Yeah, his name is Bruce. Sorry. He told the 999 how many nines was that? He told the 999 operators that the situation was becoming increasingly urgent, and then directed some of the boys in our class to clear the room before shoving his much larger and heavier desk in front of the door to act as a barricade. Another lad had the idea to shove the wooden doorstop underneath the door to provide some extra security. But fuck, what the hell was that? See, voice actors don't burp like that. That's disgusting. If they found out that I was human, with human feelings and ideas in my head, I'd be crucified. But if you're not satisfied and still hungry, you shouldn't settle for less than what you expect for your self-respect. Yeah, I guess it's just like the sense of boredom, you know what I mean? And honestly, I don't know if I would have even done the YouTube. I mean, like, I probably would still be at my current job if I didn't have my old roommates that I lived with who had already done YouTube. So I could ask them, I must have asked them so many millions of questions to like just figure out what it meant to even do YouTube, how to use it, how to use editing software, blah, blah. I guess it wasn't that crazy complicated, but it was this constant like going back and forth, and with like some degree of their experience that really led me to where I am. So I'll be ever grateful to them for that. But in the same way, getting into like a new avenue of entertainment, it's tough. It's tough just like trying to like contemplate in your mind what the next step is without some degree of like guidance or, you know, a mentor. Where do you find mentors anyways? The age of the internet is a powerful thing. It's an incredible tool to discover talent, that of which you possess, but also fills a lot of the space with mediocrity for the sake of fame. True. How's it going, folks? Top of the morning to you. Are you a perfectionist or OCD? I can be a perfectionist at times, I think. A little bit OCD about weird stuff, a little bit neurotic about some things. But, you know, I also don't always want to let, you know, perfection get in the way of good. But yes, sometimes that, like, you know, what could be described as like OCD does get in the way of just like taking a step towards something. Do you still talk to them? What do they think about your channel? I'll be honest with you, every voice actor that I'd ever talked to, whenever I like would mention my YouTube channel, I genuinely expected, especially since at that time it had like close to 1 million subscribers, and it hadn't quite hit that, but like just based on that sheer number, I genuinely expected most of them to be like, whoa, cool, congratulations, you know, but like maybe it was because it was like a professional call that I was like consulting with them, but they didn't give a fuck at all. It didn't matter in their mind, even in the slightest, to like congratulate me. Not that they needed to, but I just expected some sort of like interest in myself in the way that I was interested in them. And there was like no mutual interest whatsoever. It was just like, I'll answer your questions in the most vague way possible, and then I'll get your $100 and move on with my life. Which is also another way, if you guys ever get popular on something, you can do consultation and make a fucking $100 an hour just telling someone else that they just need to get lucky. Oh, my old roommate that helped me. Yeah, I do, yeah. But I mean, yes, definitely keep up with. What do they think about my channel? Yeah, they'll ask about it and stuff. But I mean, I guess at this point, in a similar fashion to like my family, it's like they've seen it 1 million times. There's really nothing to be, you know, derived from it anymore. When you created your first video, if you can remember, how long did it tweak it, etc., before releasing it? Man, it's so hard to remember. I remember one of my first videos, I took it down, but it was literally just me reading, it was me reading the Wikipedia entry for a general who helped during the Manhattan Project for the creation of the atomic bomb. I forget his name, but Matt Damon played him in that one movie, Oppenheimer, which was funny to see years later. I was like, oh, that guy, okay. General, what was his name? General Greaves, General something like that. And yeah, I don't think there was really only just like the simple layerings of like the video element with the image, and then, which really hasn't changed too much on the channel, and then of course the recording. But you know, that was more or less just to like practice editing and stuff. I don't really know what I expected back then, recording stories and stuff. You would make YouTube videos if you had someone to do the editing and audio. I mean, yeah, but that's like easy, you know what I mean? You can editing is really easy. All you do is like record the footage or have the footage, import it into the program, and it's just layering. You know, you have one layer that's video and one layer that's audio. What do you mean, how? Just think of it in your head. Just think you have one layer that's video, one layer that's audio, and then if you want to, I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of videos you want to make. If you wanted like some crazy, crazy elaborate stuff, obviously that would take probably a YouTube tutorial to figure out. Hey Cheryl, thank you. Good to see you. Yeah, get ready with me video. A get ready with me video / mukbang. You just want to do true crime? That wouldn't be too terribly hard, I don't think. Would you be on camera? Because then it would just be intersplicing, you know, what you record on camera and your dialogue there of going with your script that you most likely would have on your phone or some sort of whatever. And then just editing that and intersplicing various points of like B-roll or whatever over top of that. Let's read GRWM. What's that? Reading with Babish. Oh, I never see people cover fake crime, people that get found not guilty. I always thought it would be interesting to do a true crime thing, but it's like you make up all the true crime stuff, you know, but it's like you still take it as seriously with a high production value of the fake crime. I don't know. It wouldn't have to be like directly on, but it could be interesting mixing it with like, I don't know, Cthulhu-esque stuff or whatever. But it's presented as like a true crime sort of thing. That actually would be a fun show. I don't know how interested people would be in that, but I could see it being like an ongoing series. I tried Crispin Freeman. I found him to be more invested in helping you succeed. What's that about? He's a voice actor. Can you do a voice from the guy from the 20s? Hey, see? How's it going, everybody? All right. Next up, we're about to read, another lad had the idea to shove the wooden doorstep underneath the door to provide some extra security. But other kind still piled desks and chairs onto Mr. Griffith's own in a mad panic, while others cowered in the corner or looked for windows to open as routes of escape. Do you have any opinion on Delphi? I'm not familiar with that. Delphi verdict. Let's look it up. Let's make up an opinion. Delphi verdict. Richard Allen found guilty on all accounts in Delphi double murder trial. Richard Allen has been found guilty on 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of felony murder in the highly publicized Delphi murder trial, according to CNN affiliate Double DHR. All right, looks like he's guilty. What do you guys think? Did he done it? Man, people just keep killing. Why does everyone just keep killing all the time? You think when you're young and you're like, now remember the golden rule, kids. Don't kill other ones. And then there's that one kid who's like, well, what if I want to? Like, oh, well, if you want to do it, I guess I can't really stop you. Don't you ever think about killing people? I don't, honestly. I really don't. I don't ever have, like... I have, like, the opposite. I think about eating Jell-O out of their ass just to make them so happy. Just kidding. No, I don't know. Like, sometimes people piss me off. Like, I go into the tax fucking agency and I just want to yell at them. But then there's a part of me, as soon as I walk in and I see their faces, now they're just like normal people, I'm like... I could be rude to you guys, but I don't have the energy to do so, and I don't want you to think I'm a jerk, and I don't want to make you feel bad about your job. And then I hand them thousands of dollars and say, good day. Please use that on something worthless. Please send that to another country if you could. But don't give it to the citizens. Give it to the bombs. Clam chowder. Do I have an option on Paperclip's project? An opinion on Project Paperclip with the Nazis? Or you mean like actual paperclips? Because those are interesting too. Joe Goldberg said, hello you, the way he does. Just want to test this. Joe Goldberg, who's he? Let's take a quick peek. His name sounds familiar. Joe Goldberg. Oh, from you, this guy. Wait. There it is. With its big, naked windows. Did it sound like him? I guess she's happy to see me, isn't she? Honestly, I watched a few episodes of that, and I wasn't, like, too convinced that he... Like, it was kind of just... It seemed so strange that he was... Did we find out why he became a stalker, or, like, really weird? Because I feel like the juxtaposition between, like, his friendly vibe and him being a stalker, it just seems so abrupt. I didn't quite understand why. I don't know, sometimes you feel like you kind of get an idea of who the guy is in his personal life, not just innately desiring to stalk people and kill them or whatever, but also struggling with it a little bit too, you know, thinking about it. All right. Another lad had the idea to shove the wooden doorstop underneath the door to provide some extra security. But other kids still piled desks and chairs onto Mr. God damn it, I get like a lisp. I get a lisp out of nowhere. I'm a little bit lispy. But other kids still piled desks and chairs onto Mr. Griffith's own in a mad panic, while others cowered in the corner or looked for windows to open as routes of escape. I was probably the single most terrifying God damn it. God fucking damn it. It was probably the single most terrifying experience of my life, just waiting for some hammer-wielding maniac to make his way up the stairs into our classroom. Little did I know, it was about to get so much worse. As we heard someone reach the top of the stairs outside the door, everyone went quiet. Seconds later, we saw the man's face as he peered through the little... Was it perspex? Perspex? Gladiator 2. Is that out now? I feel like I didn't expect it to come out so soon. I imagine it's poopy. Perspex. Celebrate Festivus is cheaper than Christmas. The holiday for the rest of us. Are you not entertained? Is that not why you're here? Spaniard, 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 Spaniard. LM, welcome back for 10 months. Says, hey Joel, when's the next gaming stream? I was honestly about to do it this Saturday, but then I think I got caught up doing something else. I really want to find a game that's horror related, but it's like very linear. If that doesn't necessarily have to be like completely linear, but I thought about a game like, the one game, Cult of the Lamb. Like that game looks fun, but the fact that it also seems like a game that you might have to like contemplate and sit and do like leveling up and kind of like allocating stats and some RPG elements. I wasn't quite sure if it was something that would, because I want something that like sort of keeps your guys' attention the whole time, if that makes sense. Alien Isolation. Oh man, there's a part of me that's also terrified of that too. Maybe that will make it funny. Saturnus is the real Roman Yule holiday. Saturnus, the park, Dead by Daylight. Should try the game Visage. Oh wait, wasn't there a follow-up to that one game about painting, like Layers of Fear? Wasn't there a sequel to Layers of Fear? Dying Light. Yeah, I played many hours of Dying Light. Why does Mr. Balin not stream? I think he realizes that unless he had something like specifically geared or like planned out, it might not, you know what I mean? I don't know. Boop. Thank you for the 10 months. Says Morrowind 10-hour playtime. Yeah. I remember I was part of a Discord for a while that was like related to recording, like they were making an entire like remake of Morrowind or something. And then I think I even did like a little audition for something and got negative feedback and said, all right, I'm leaving. But welcome and decided to say hi. Hope you're doing well, man. Good to see you. What's up, Derek? Yeah, the old Gladiator. I don't know. Sometimes I think that it's so strange to me. I almost feel like they're like purposely going back and finding like everyone's like favorite classic movies and just saying, hey, how can we completely fuck that up without like taking the movie and straight up editing it and throwing it in a Disney vault or some shit and then pissing and pooping on it? Like, how can we totally ruin it as an entity? And obviously the Gladiator will always exist as its own individual sort of entity that can't be touched. But I mean, yes, capitalizing on nostalgia, but it's so strange. It seems like they're going out of their way to then, or who knows, maybe that's just a testament to the writers of today, in the same way that we mentioned before about their inability to create something culturally significant. Maybe that's just people, maybe people have capped out in intelligence and we just can't find anybody who is good at anything anymore. Maybe we were getting stupider. I mean, it was very strange to like completely, I mean, the Joker won. It was good, but I wasn't thinking too much about it. And honestly, I felt like some of its themes about treating a guy bad until he snaps, to me that wasn't like some crazy original thing. Like obviously you had the movie Taxi Driver, etc., but I don't know, that wasn't something like crazy unique in the sense. So like when they made the sequel and then just made a complete shite, I don't know, I don't really follow. And yeah, I mean, I could see someone getting bored in the first Joker. Never Ending Nightmares, no. I am very excited for Little Nightmares 3, though. Alright. Bad 30s to 50s films and remake them. John Carpenter's The Thing is a good example. Well, they've definitely done that quite a bit. There was a video game, and then there was the 2011 film, and obviously the inspirations. But I do enjoy that the fact that they didn't directly remake it as opposed to just like continued the storyline or like had things happen at different times. Denzel was good in it. That's good. Yeah, Denzel's usually pretty good in pretty much everything he does. Humans have reached their peak. Yeah, maybe we did. Maybe it was like the 90s, 2000s. We reached it, and now we're just kind of like going backwards really quick. We want to see how fast we can just like Honey, I blew up the kids, right? Honey, I shrunk them. No, that doesn't make any sense. But basically, I'm just imagining like we were really big giants. And we were smushing fucking towns, and now we're little tiny ant folk, or at least we're trying to get to that point. After Rome, there was a dark ages, but we learn, we rebuild, and we will persevere. True. I don't know. Or we inch ever closer to the Orwellian technocracy, where all of our money is connected to the biometrics of our bodies, and we'll never be able to tell a lie ever again. And everything we think will be monitored, and everything we feel will be logged. And money will no longer exist, but instead we'll have energy units. And if you expend your energy units, you are limited on your ability to travel more than your typical 15 radius miles outside of your sector. Seconds later, we saw the man's face as he peered through the little perspex window in the door, and one of the girls began to scream again. His eyes were just horrifying. His gaze looked hollow, like all sense of reason had completely evaporated. He didn't speak. He didn't smile. He looked at us all for a few minutes and then started trying to open the door. This prompted more screams from my classmates, and remember, we're all in... I wish that Rick Moranis would have ate that kid in his Cheerios because of the franchise. Oh, that would have been so funny. Honestly, they should make more movies like that where, like, I feel like there's got to be a YouTube channel or Instagram or something that exists where it's like movies that could be over in 10 seconds and then they just like re-edit it to take a different path. Usually someone getting shot or eaten early on. This prompted more screams from my classmates, and remember, we're all only 12 and 13 years old, so we were really scared and completely out of our wits, and in no frame of mind to put up a fight. The man tried with all of his might to open the door to that classroom, but thankfully, he failed. The barricade was just too strong, and no matter how much he shoved or kicked, the door simply would not budge an inch. In his frustration, he started smashing the door with his hammer or mallet or whatever it was, and while this caused more screams from the girls, I remember feeling this muted sense of relief. No matter what was about to happen, there was no way it was happening in our classroom, and although it was scary, we were safe. The guy hammered on the door a few more minutes, and he managed to bash out the glass before attempting to reach for the doorknob. Obviously, that was no use to him, and after a bit more hammering, I remember Mr. Griffiths looking out the window and shouting, "The police are here, children. Everything's going to be fine. This man's not going to be with us very much longer." And he was right. Mr. Griffiths had seen 4 or 5 police officers running across the courtyard, and after they entered the geography block via the same route as the hammerman, they baited him downstairs and used a stun gun to subdue and arrest him. We had to stay locked down in that classroom for another hour, and then the head teacher announced that the hammerman was safely off school grounds and we were free to come out. What followed was total chaos, because it was announced that any kid whose parents could collect them from school reception were free to leave as and when their parents arrived. This meant that almost every kid in the school was ringing their mom or dad, begging for lifts from those whose parents weren't too busy to come and collect them. It was easily the most unschool-like atmosphere I'd ever experienced while in education. I just never have imagined that not being a good... It was easily the most unschool thing imaginable. Really hard to be original anymore. That could definitely put some more time and energy in the idea department, though. Yeah, I think to really experience anything interesting in your life, because like for us as humans, similar to pornography, the idea of novelty comes into play. Like people's minds, to get that like dopamine rush, they constantly want something like new and different and novel and blah blah blah, you know. But you're not going to get new and novel ever within Hollywood, because everything's got to go through like however many like edits and censors and report back to the investors and then report back to the, you know, head person and then back to the writer, and then they kill the writer and et cetera, they piss on his grave, and then you get Star Wars. And it's like, yeah, you're never going to get something with that much corporate involvement. So I think the only way that you're ever going to get to really experience new and interesting ideas is probably just reading shit either from a book or the internet or independent game developers, independent movie makers. And I think that maybe that's where we should put most of our money, is just into the hope of like indie stuff. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep getting the same poopy crap. What's up, Katie? How we doing? Same movies and listen to the same music over and over. Now, music, I kind of understand, like, listening to the same stuff a lot. It is kind of interesting with music how you can almost gain the same sense of satisfaction from listening to it over and over. But as far as movies, like, I'll watch a movie, and honestly, I'm good with that movie for, like, 10 years. Like, all of its information is, like, logged in my brain, and I do not need to be reminded of it. Like, I will talk about it and praise it, whatever, but like, for me to watch it again directly after it very quickly becomes, just like, why are we watching this again, dude? Unless I was 4 years old and I was watching Aladdin, and then I would watch Aladdin probably 550 times every day. You wouldn't do the same puzzle twice? Yeah, because it gets a little boring. Instant replays, yeah. Yeah, someone on social media why they would watch the same movie over and over again and act like it was a stupid question. Yeah, I mean, I guess if it brings them joy or a sense of like peace, and it really is a transcendental experience for them, that's their favorite thing, I could see it being their comfort, whatever the fuck, in the same way that we always, I don't know, wake up and eat bacon. My maybe ex once made me watch Lord of the Rings 7 times in a row. What? Like the Fellowship of the Ring, or like the whole trilogy 7 times in a row? Because that's like a whole work shift. She better fucking pay you overtime. You could never rewatch Endgame. Oh, just the Fellowship. Interesting. That is, in my opinion, probably the best of the 3, because it's just like so peaceful. It was easily the most unschool-like atmosphere I had ever experienced while in education, and I just never have imagined that not being a good thing, if that makes sense. Something really and truly terrible had happened, and the fact that no one on school grounds was seriously hurt is nothing shy of a miracle in my book. It turns out the bloke with the hammer had bashed one other person before heading towards our school to look for soft targets. Apparently it was a complete mental breakdown. He had been a regular tradesman with a wife and a baby on the way, and the wife's on the way too. He had been a regular tradesman with a wife and a baby on the way, and then one day he just snapped and went on a hammer-bashing spree that ended in a school just a few days before Christmas. It's scary to think someone can just go crazy like that, and even scarier to think that they'll target children when in that state of mind. He was close to. Oh. Stop. Hammer time. That's what he should have did outside the classroom, like, stop. Hammer time. He was close, too. Very close. And God knows what would have happened if he'd been able to force his way into our classroom that day. But that's exactly why I consider his failure to be my very own Christmas miracle. The day I was able to look death in the face and tell him, not today. Even if at the time... Can't touch this. Oh, no. Even if, at the same time, the moment didn't feel quite so glamorous as my... Alright, we're not even going to finish with that. But that's exactly why I consider his failure to be my very own Christmas miracle. You love Foley art? Like Foley catheter? Stop. slammer time. Oh, 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 oh. Inflate the fruit compote. I have a tendency to repetitively replay shows or films ad nauseum. I know some people really like to just like sit and watch like Breaking Bad over and over again, or I don't know, The Office or Friends or whatever. And honestly, I can kind of understand like comedy. There's something about the comedy and the comfort in that I could see that sort of mental experience being something you could do over and over again. But I don't know. Alright, Google Docs. Been watching Bob's Burgers these past day. That's a good show. It makes you feel kind of just like you're chilling. If you don't like it, straight to jail. Straight to jail. Hey Toby, you're welcome. Are you heading out? I'm just gonna read this outro here, and if I can find it. If I can freaking find it. There it is. Hey Faceless, what's up, dude? Just in time for the end. Guys, you gotta hit that notification bell, man. Alright. Someone think of something funny for me to say at the end. Right now, what we do in the shadows, I'm literally on week 3 of constantly repeating it from season 1 until current, and 99% of the time I'm not even watching it. It's a comforting background noise. Yeah, I need to watch that show because I really liked one of his shows called Snuff Box. Twitch. You think I should stream on Twitch? I wonder how hard it would be to just like simul stream on there. But yeah, the show Snuff Box is very funny, if you like that show. It's one of his older shows. I think there was honestly only 6 episodes, sadly. But all of it's quite funny. Whiskey? And that one's from my boyfriend over there. Fuck you! Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m. EST, and there are super fun live streams every Sunday and Wednesday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them over at my email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, and you might even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks for members of the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories and big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, No. Ride your rocket to glory. Hey, classic Mike Cade. Thank you, my friend, for the 5 gifters to Photo Fox, Haley Smith, Caitlin, Drizzle Hell, and Sierra Steiner. Thank you. Be sure to thank Mike for that. You guys now have access to bonus content. Yeah, we'll do that one. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, hugs are free in Siberia. If my husband put on Bob's Burgers on a Tuesday night for the next month, I'll just watch that. Oh, like he doesn't give you a choice? Yeah, familiar sounds is nice, honestly. Like I sometimes used to like make fun of, you know, like when I was like more pretentious when I was younger, I guess, even more so than now. And we're like, people watch the NFL, they're just freaking just, you know, sheep, man. Everybody's a sheep. But then I'm just like, dude, I want to be a sheep, honestly. I want my brain to be completely shut off, and I want like every piece of stupid entertainment that comes out to be like the fucking most entertaining thing I've seen all day. Now, does that probably require me to get high as fuck? Probably. But, I don't know. I don't really like coughing. I also don't really like being high as fuck and getting scared. But, oh, yeah, it was me moving my microphone arm over. Well, I don't know what to do. Do we head out? I guess so. Honestly, it's been 3.5 hours. It was 2 in the morning. But I love you guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for being great. And yeah, be nice to each other. Don't let the left-right paradigm tear you apart. It's fucking stupid. And just try to focus on yourselves and building up your bag. I'll do the same. Until next time, I'll be back probably Sunday night. If not, I might, someone mentioned about like saying I'm streaming on Instagram. Might honestly do that to be real with you. Because honestly, if someone is genuinely following me or wants to see the stream, they'll probably see it through Instagram because they would follow me on there. So that makes sense. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one. And be sure to subscribe to my Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there for early access. And you get, I don't remember. See ya.